ready for another lesson?
I'm coming in on time this time, Nathaniel. Yeah? I see the drums. I got it. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Back Row Banter, your favorite casual movie talk podcast. I'm one of your hosts, of course, Adam Schwartz, and on today's episode, we have a couple delays, an interesting development on the new Fast and Furious movie. We'll get to that in the news. Trailer talk this week, we have the Avatar: The Way of Water trailer, a mere only 13 years after the initial release. It's only been a small 13 years. And then we have a Game of Thrones House of Dragon teaser as well. The new streaming list is quite long as we're packing in 3 weeks into one, which it also includes the first week of May. So it's a long list. There are some good things coming, but get ready for that as well. Then what we're watching, of course, in our main review for the episode is Doctor Strange. In the Multiverse of Madness?
Yeah, he's in it. He's in the multiverse.
He in it.
We're in
But before we get to any of that, I am joined today, of course, by Nightmare Nathaniel Gingrich.
What up, folks? I'm Nightmare Nathaniel. As we learned, bit of sizzle. Maybe when you have a nightmare about me, I'm seeing myself. That'll make more sense, right? That'll make more sense.
If they've seen the movie, yes. If not, you sound like a crazy person.
Just how I like it.
Okay. Also joining me today is Teleporting Ty, Tyler Vidalis.
Yo, I've been trying to teleport for years.
Yeah?
Zero progress.
I know how that goes, though. Once you figure that shit out.
Yeah, there's no like machinery or anything behind it. I kind of just sit here and, like meditate for like 15 minutes, see if I'll just, wake up or like come out of it like somewhere else. But
yeah.
So yeah, it's more of a holistic.
I would love to have like the
teleportation. Yeah.
That they have in Harry Potter.
Maybe.
The apparating.
Where you're just like, where you're just like, and then you're gone. Like I don't need a door to walk through. I don't need nothing. I'm just like, bam.
What about like the Dragon Ball Z, where just like you just hold up a finger and then like you just appear somewhere else and you get the little like flashing speed lines. You know what I'm talking about?
Never seen Dragon Ball, so no.
Come on, dude. Like, not you, Adam. I'm just like, telling the thing. Like, of course I know what you're talking about, you idiot.
Well, I knew you would know, but I didn't know if our resident Gen Zer was a Dragon Ball kid.
A lot of people in my generation love Dragon Ball. For me, I go, oh, there's like 1,300 episodes. I'm gonna pass.
Yeah. Listen, man, Rome wasn't built in a day, okay?
Yeah, but I could probably build Rome faster than I could get through that series. So
I'll put money on that.
That's probably a good bet. That's probably a good bet. That was a bit of hyperbole. You called me out, and we're here. Also joining us today is Big Wizard BlakeHolder.
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
Do a lot of the spell casting in your free time, Blake?
No, so actually,
like
so I was actually going to intervene when you guys were talking about Harry Potter. It's also a series of films I've never seen. So when you guys were talking about how the teleportation works and that, I had no idea. I tried to envision it off your guys' brief description, but I might have to YouTube it.
You might have to YouTube it. It's like they basically like in the books they describe it a little bit better, and obviously the movies it's not really something they focus on that much. Mm-hmm. They basically like just like do a twist, and then they like it's like a weird like whirring into like a small space. It's not like a ball, but like I don't know, their entire body like
almost.
Almost like they're squeezing through a tube, and then they just come out the other side.
And you can get it wrong.
Books, in the books, I think it's when did they start learning it? Is it Goblet of Fire or is it
Fifth one?
Order of Phoenix?
Order of the Phoenix.
Yeah, I think it's Order of Phoenix. They start learning, and it's like none of them can get it right away, and all they're doing is like they're standing in one spot and they're trying to get in like a hoop that's like 2 feet next to them, and they're just trying to get you to teleport. And the first person the entire like the entire like class, you know, fifth year, the first person to get it does it, but then like their arm was like not attached or something like that.
You're if you don't do it right, your body can get like mangled.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they had to like undo that, and so then everyone after that was like,
It happens. It happens during in one of the movies too. Happens to a character. Happens to Ron.
Does it?
Yeah, in the 7th one.
Oh,
7
it
part
does.
1.
It
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, we digress.
We digress. Well, guys, it's been 3 weeks. We got a lot to get to here, so let's just get on into it. Our first news story, I guess we'll couple them up here. There's 2 delays that are somewhat noteworthy. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse delays its release to June 2023. This was initially set for an October 7th, 2022 release to June 2nd. So almost over 6 months, 8 months. It's a pretty big delay, but also it's very understandable based on like what they're trying to do with that movie. Because when did the first one come out? 2017, right?
I want to say, yeah, into 2017
or 2018, something like that. It was obviously very well received, won the Academy Award for Best Animated Film, which was cool to see because superhero movies don't get that a lot. And with this one, they're doing a multiverse thing, since they're honestly the first people to do it.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah. So they're doing a multiverse thing, but every universe that they're going to is a different animation style. But they're also like gonna try to do it where like Miles, the main Spider-Man in this one, Miles, his animation is going to, as far as I know, or from what I understand of how they're trying to do, is like his animation is going to stay consistent, even though the world around him is animated differently. Which I don't do animation, but I can imagine is very difficult to pull off.
For sure.
Very, very difficult. And of course, they want to get this right based on the success of the first one, and also it's Sony's Spider-Man property. And of course, Sony wants to get this right because they have been a little hit or miss, more misses than hits on their superhero stuff. So of course, this delay kind of makes sense in that regard. The sequel to this, because they're doing a part 2, this is Across the Spider-Verse and the Across the Spider-Verse 2. That has a release date of March 29th, 2024. So I don't know if this is going to be, if that second one is going to be affected too much by this delay. I think that was already kind of the initial area was 2024.
I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, I think so too. So, and also that moves them closer together, so less of a wait in between them, only about a year or so. But yeah, I'm very excited. I want them to get this one right because it's going to take a lot to follow up that movie, and get something that was as successful as that first one. So it sounds like they're on the right track, and I think delaying it's the smart move.
Plus, it's only like basically a year from us now. Like, it's not too bad. I don't know. It's gonna be
not like we won't have a billion other superhero properties to watch between now and then.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Me either. Yeah.
Plead the fifth.
I can't wait for all the Morbius sequels we're getting.
Oh, Jesus.
True.
Oh, brother.
No, man.
June 2023. Will Venom 3 be out by that point? I don't know. That's what I'm waiting on.
I fucking hope not.
I hope that does. Do we need another? Yeah, there. You know what? We're probably getting another Venom.
Just roll with it.
It's gonna be that and Fast 15.
You think they ever merge the universes and like?
I'm already 100% in the fact that Fast and the Furious is in every universe across anything we watch.
One of the podcasts I listen to is advocating heavily for the Fast and Furious universe to cross over with the Now You See Me universe, which I think would be very, very fun too. Just cars plus magicians as thieves.
Yeah.
That's so funny you say that because you're gonna have to. I'm gonna like pause that segue because I just want to say the other delay really quick. Super Mario's the movie, the one with Chris Pratt, is pushed from December 21 of this year to April 7th of 2023.
So
tragic.
God damn it.
Yeah. That lineup is actually Chris Pratt as Mario, Anya Taylor-Joy as Princess Peach, Charlie Day as Luigi, Jack Black as Bowser, Keegan-Michael Key as Toad, and Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. Then Fred Armisen as Cranky Kong, Kevin Michael Richardson is Kamek, and then Sebastian Maniscalco is Spike. That's actually a really good voice acting cast. And so like now that they kind of, I don't know if that was like announced right when they announced the project, but like that could be good.
I wish this wasn't animated. I wish it was another live action.
Live action.
movie. Yeah.
I wish it was like
It was just
I wish
a
it was
brick
like,
shit house
Shark
Mario.
Boy. I want it to be like Shark Boy and Lava Girl, where Jack Black is like a superimposed onto Bowser, like George Lopez. That would be great. That would be great. But backpacking off that segue you gave me, Fast X, Fast 10. It's been revealed that Fast 10 is going to be called Fast X. It started production
3 weeks ago or so.
Less than 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
And then less than 2 weeks ago, it was announced that Justin Lin, who has directed 2 of them, 3 of them.
No, 5. No,
Five?
no, 4. Yeah, he did 3, 4, 5, 6. Didn't do 7. Didn't do 8. Did 9. So I think he's up to 5 now.
Okay. So he did 5 of them. He was set to come back for this, final hurrah, whatever it's going to be. He left the project less than 2 weeks into production.
Yeah.
Damn.
And he looked. There was one video that I know that Vin Diesel posted where he looked like he was like under gunpoint, basically. Like he was not having a good time on that movie. You could just tell.
Yeah.
I mean, proof is in the pudding.
He didn't say why he left.
We'll find out.
Well, yeah, Variety already released an article that it was like supposedly he thought he had a locked script, and then they were like basically changing it on the day, and like there were scenes that were supposed to be set in Eastern Europe, which are definitely can't do right now because of the whole situation with Russia and the Ukraine. And then he was just like basically like had a thing set up, and Diesel was like, "No, we're not doing that anymore." And he was just kind of like, "Oh, okay, this is not worth my mental health," and then left.
I was gonna say this sounds like Diesel's being a little bit of a prima donna on this
100%.
Shocker.
I think he's been that way.
Diesel being a prima donna? No.
I think our boy Vin has kind of been that way for a little while now.
Yeah.
I mean, it is his franchise in a lot of ways, but now it's like 100% his franchise, and he doesn't really have anything else, like Triple X.
I wonder what kind of like where they would be if Paul Walker was still alive. I wonder if this is like his way of like holding on to Paul a little bit.
I'm sure it is.
I wonder how much mental kind of just hang up he's had on that. And
I'm sure.
I think there's probably a little bit of that's just, I think maybe he's afraid he doesn't have anything else.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think that all makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. That's what you're led to believe. Like, I don't see another reason other than there was some kind of butting of heads with Vin Diesel, and as you've seen with The Rock, it doesn't seem like Vin Diesel's one to budge.
Right.
What else could be the reason that he left this project other than like a personal reason, something like that?
Sure.
It seems like it ended up being kind of personal, where if he's not in a good headspace for it, sure, get GTFO. He will stay on to executive produced, I believe is what it said.
Yeah, and I think they were saying that was mostly because like when you're a director, like it is a lot of times your crew that you're working with as well too, like your guys and everything. And I think after he was like, "Hey, I'm done," there was a lot of kind of didn't know, okay, well, are we leaving too? Is this kind of stuff? And him staying on as a producer allows him to keep those guys in their jobs and stuff like that, which is still good. Like which
is great.
Yeah, you don't want,
especially during pandemic times. Hollywood's kind of it's coming back, but it's
absolutely
like still, I there's a lot of stuff going up in the air. So he left that project less than 2 weeks in. Universal is scrambling to find a director. They stay on doing what's the official term for it? Secondary production,
second unit work.
Second unit work. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So basically the things where, because most movies you have like kind of 2 crews. There's things already being set up, and you kind of do that stuff on the side, and the director's only going to be on one set, obviously. I remember Dune. Denny V talked about how like they had 2 crews going the entire time, and like he was doing his best job to bounce back and forth. But he was out in the desert in Jordan for like a month and a half, 3 months. Almost, I think it was almost 3 months, like just exhausted because he had to keep bouncing back between all this stuff. Anyway, they're doing that stuff so they can keep production going and get some parts of the movie filmed while they're searching for a director. And they find Now You See Me director Louis Leterrier. He's coming in. He's coming off the bench.
Louis.
He's taking over. Yeah, so he's done Now You See Me and several of the Transporter movies, as well as he's worked on The Incredible Hulk with Universal, and then Clash of the Titans. I don't know. I mean, I can't. He's got experience with big budgets, is what it seems like, but it's not necessarily like A-list big budget movies.
That's true, I would say. Yeah, I mean, I know Louis, originally they had been talking about like making Fast 10 a little bit of a smaller movie, I think, too, kind of trying to take it back to its roots. I know early on, like back in the day when the first series of Fast and Furious were coming out and stuff, Louis Leterrier was a kind of a name that was showing up at that point, obviously because of the Transporter franchise, which is treading similar ground in some ways. And obviously, as you stated, he's worked for Marvel, worked with Universal as well, too, when they did The Incredible Hulk. So he knows how to use all of that kind of stuff. I think on a short notice, it's a good get, you know, especially when you talk about, like, James Wan's off doing Aquaman. F. Gary Gray, I think, is doing something else at the moment, too. You know, as a quick fix-it, like, we need a guy that knows how to do stuff. It's a pretty good get as far as you can go. It's rather than, you know, some Swedish director or something like that we've seen before or haven't seen before or something. So
I was, you know, wouldn't have been shocked if they just said, Vin, it's all you, dog. Get in that chair.
Well, they actually can't. So there's a directors guild, I think, law that goes by it's called the Eastwood Law after Clint Eastwood, because apparently back when he was making his like spaghetti westerns and stuff, there was a point where like basically the director walked off and he finished the movie, but it's to prevent actors/producers like getting a director to set up everything, kind of like we were talking about with their crew and everything, and then just firing them on the first day and taking over production. So I can't actually have Vin do that for us, though. I think we were all kind of in that boat immediately with you of like, oh, of course, now Vin will try and take over or anything like that.
Yeah. Interesting developments, though. I was so shocked to see Justin leave. Well, I was shocked, but also understood kind of the situation that probably led him to leave. But I was so much looking forward to him coming back for that finale. So it's disappointing, but I'm sure, you know, like you said, Leterrier, or I don't even know how to pronounce his last name.
Leterrier.
Yeah. Leterrier. Sorry. Seems like he's, like you said, pretty good get, especially on such, you know, very short notice, you know, as quick as you can get him. So we'll have to see how that ends up. I think that's still slated, you know, since they're able to production to slow down too much. I think that's still slated for sometime middle of next year or so. So we'll see where that goes. Middle to late next year. That's it for the news this week. Trailer talk, though. 13 years later, here we are. We have gotten the Avatar 2 trailer. Avatar: The Way of Water teaser trailer has debuted. It initially debuted, if you saw Doctor Strange Into the Multiverse of Madness, that's where you could see it. Before then, it debuted at CinemaCon, I think is what it's called.
Yep.
And then after that, it was only in theaters with the Doctor Strange movie. And then I think only a day or two ago, it was released online. And it did crazy numbers. Like, it shot to like 148 million views on YouTube in like the first day or two.
Yeah, I heard it set records.
Yeah, it was kind of wild how many views it got in that short of time. I'm gonna make this prediction now. Mark this episode. Mark this date. Episode 101. This is gonna be a resurrection of a franchise that will, you know, come to be like a stable franchise. I am not ever gonna bet against James Cameron, and to people saying, because I've seen quite a bit of like, you know, kerfuffle online, if you will, about how no one cares anymore. You know, this movie doesn't look good. You know, what if it flops? Like that kind of stuff. This movie's not going to flop.
No way in
James
hell.
Cameron, no way in hell. James Cameron has been planning 4 sequels for 13 years. You really think that much planning, that much care into a universe that he obviously wants to develop is going to flop? James Cameron? No.
Yeah, I wonder the people that are saying, well, Avatar, is blah, 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 or like it has. I don't know. I wonder if those people are familiar with James Cameron's actual track record.
Probably not.
Probably not.
And just that way of like, he's never really made a bad movie. And like, when he does make movies, they're giant. Like,
they're huge.
Yeah.
I think before Endgame came out, he had like 3 of the top 10 highest grossing films of all time,
Right.
something like that. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's the same now, because now that Doctor Strange did, went crazy at the box office, gangbusters.
Well, just Titanic and Avatar. Like, he's got 1 and 2, basically, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Or 1 and 3.
Yeah, and so you're gonna bet against James Cameron, who probably has not unlimited budget, but it's not a small budget by any means. Yeah. And he's had now 13 years to develop these very slowly. They've started to kind of film each almost simultaneously with like different directors kind of attached to like lead each film, is what, from my understanding, from what I've like kind of read before. Like, these movies aren't gonna flop. They're not. They're gonna be good, and I think people are gonna care about Avatar again. And even from this trailer, like, I haven't seen Avatar since probably 2011, 2012. But I like watching this trailer. I'm like, I'd be so down to go rewatch this, and I can actually not. I'm actually really excited for this movie now, just off of this 1 minute and 37-second trailer.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and I have kind of an odd perspective, I guess, too, because I just got back from Disneyland last week, or Disney World, I should say, where they have the Avatar Pandora land basically set up. And the experience, yes, exactly. Yeah. And it's awesome. It's so cool. Like, it when you're there, like, it's got the same level of detail in it as the Star Wars land. And and it was my mom's favorite ride. Like, immediately as soon as we got on it, she was like, this is and she'd done all the new Star Wars stuff the day before and everything. She doesn't normally like kind of big rides like that. And she was like, this was amazing. Like, it was awesome. And there's something to that world. I mean, I think Tyler and I have talked about it a little bit too, because I know we rewatched Avatar together when we were living together last year. And it's just, there is something about that movie and that kind of world and setup that goes beyond just the normal, well, we made a new fantasy world or whatever. Like, there's that extra level of care that I think that has been brought into it.
Yeah.
And just Cameron's skills as a storyteller. And again, exactly as you said too, there's like that second shot, I think, in the trailer, which is of Zoe Saldana's character's face. And like, just in the theater, I was just like, oh shit, they have really upped this. Like, that looks real. Like, I don't know.
Even the first one looked good for its time, though.
Well, yeah, it looked incredible at the time too.
It was way ahead of its time.
Way ahead of its time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the 3D too. What I'm also interested to see is here, like, does he go back to 3D? Does he try to make that a thing again?
Oh,
like,
I hope
try to revolutionize that.
Well, it's.
I also hope not.
It's definitely filmed in it.
Yeah, and I can even tell from the trailer that it looks like that. Because the big appeal and one of the reasons that Avatar got to #1 on the box office list, because it was such a big deal to go see it in 3D. It was and still is, in my opinion, the best 3D movie ever made. And so seeing it in theaters on that 3D screen was what everyone wanted to do. And once word got out, because back then that was very early social media. That Twitter had been around for a year, so it wasn't like that, where it's like, oh, this movie's really good, go see it. It was like, word just got out that this was a popular movie. This was
huge
word
of mouth.
Exactly. You had to go see this. And not only that, you had to go see it in 3D. And so not only were more people going to see this because everyone was talking about it, but also the 3D ticket sales were more expensive. So you got more money that way. And people would see it multiple times in 3D. So It was just like, it was that kind of thing. And I wonder how that plays out this time around, because 13 years later, people after this movie came out, 3D TVs became a thing. 3D games were trying to become a thing. Like, and it never caught on because I don't think the technology to make it, consumer based was like really there. But 13 years later, that's definitely fallen off. Nothing is really attracted to the 3D now. Do they try that again? I don't. Well,
to answer that, I know, Tyler, you might have a feeling there.
Oh, go ahead, Ty. Mr. Vidalis.
So, spoiler alert. I saw Doctor Strange in 3D.
Whoa! Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, perspective. And so this trailer was in 3D.
Oh,
Yeah. So it will be an option for sure.
okay.
What'd you think?
Now, did the trailer in 3D? Yeah, did that do anything for you?
I thought it looked great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the first one in 3D on multiple occasions, and yeah, man, I think it's anytime we have a newer movie that comes out in 3D, I know a majority of people are probably just going to go see it regularly or see it in IMAX, or the people like us that are a little hell bent on audio. You're going to see the Dolby Atmos stuff, but I had to do it because it was something that I always thought was just so interesting from a technology standpoint, and I fell in love with it for the most part. Obviously, there's some issues, but yeah, I mean they've kind of perfected it over time, and I think it looks really good.
Definitely. So you did say there like the majority of people are gonna go see this in regular or whatever, and honestly, I in most scenarios, like you're right. Like I was shocked that you saw Doctor Strange in 3D, but I think enough people are gonna remember that Avatar was like the 3D movie.
Yeah.
That people are, if the when it's an option again, which it is, because theaters still have their 3D projectors and whatnot, and their 3D screens. Like I think a lot of people will still go see this in 3D, especially if that word gets out again, which it's going to be much easier to do. If like people on Twitter go, I just saw this in 3D. It's the best thing I've seen. It's better than Avatar 1 in 3D per se. It could be. I think people would be interested in going to a 3D showing of this. The other thing is, this is something that I was thinking about too. It's like it's been 13 years since this film came out. Anyone born after 2005 isn't gonna know the impact of Avatar. I was barely the cutoff. I remember going to see this when I was 9 years old in the 3D theater and everything like that. I remember that, but like if anyone younger than me, I don't know. I really don't. And so that's gonna be really interesting to see that anyone born after say 2003, 2004, like that didn't get that experience, they're gonna be like, what the hell is this Avatar thing? Like, it's
fuck them kids.
Well, yeah, fuck them kids, but also like
that's one of the best internet memes of all time.
But if for like anyone who didn't get that first experience, like how much are they gonna care? And I think it'd be like I said, I think they could care again. And I think this could, if this sequel is good and people go back and watch the first one, they go see this one in 3D, it's great. Like, I think now that we know that these next Avatar sequels are coming out, and I think they're going to come out, all the rest of so there's 5 total, I think, right? Or going to be 5 movies total. I think there's 4 sequels, or maybe there's 5 sequels.
Do we know the frequency of those releasing?
That's what I was about to say, as I think that since they kind of started production, each of them at the same time, and they've trying to overlap their production, they are coming out within 2 years of each other, each one of them.
Okay, that's pretty good.
I don't know how staggered their production was, because like for a long time it was just James Cameron planning this, and I don't know how long these movies have actually been in production. But to avoid that gap, because I think it was like the first one just took so long to do because of the CGI and the 3D, that kind of thing, to avoid that gap in between every single sequel, that's why he did it this way, so that they could be released within 2 years of each other, is kind of what I understand from an article I read not too long ago.
Yeah, I mean, you've got some valid points on the 3D adaptation of the movie. I mean, one, that's another reason. The original movie is great, but that's also another reason why it sold so much, and it's got so much of those kind of high revenues that's a premium ticket cost for 3D.
Sure.
So that was definitely on its side, and I think if the new one's going to be in 3D, we've confirmed that now in the other sequels. So that'll have those going forward. I think it'll probably end up challenging. I think when this release, I think it'll end up challenging Spider-Man probably for the most grossed film post-pandemic. I would bet.
Yeah.
I would bet. I think it's going to challenge it really close. It might even pass it. Yeah. But yeah, that's as we expect. To your point, 13 years, crazy long time. The original one is one of those that people remember what they did. Like I went to see that for my 15th birthday. That came out like December 2019.
Yeah.
I saw it in January 2010 with like a bunch of my friends.
Pretty sure
my parents took us all there. You know what I mean? It's just a very, very memorable moment.
Yeah.
So, and then to your point, James Cameron, great director. Titanic, the first Avatar, arguably the best fucking sequel ever in Terminator 2.
Yep.
There's no way in hell. People on the internet just say things. There's no way in hell this movie fails.
Right.
No.
Not a chance.
And like there's a chance, like, even if this one does flop, like James Cameron's got enough money now, he could probably just put the rest of them out himself. Like,
he's going
to. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
He's need to finish this out, and I think at the bare minimum, this is a 7 out of 10. This is not bad. This is not going to be.
I agree.
Is it going to be a great movie? That's more up for debate. But this is not going to be anything less than a 7 out of 10. And that's enough to get people to the theaters. And I think the difference between like a 7, 8, 9, or 10 out of 10 is going to be the difference of how much money it actually makes, and if it can beat the first one, if it can beat Spider-Man for post-pandemic stuff. So that's going to be just so interesting to see. But I'm, very excited for this. This trailer got me extremely, extremely hyped.
For sure.
Which is because 2 years ago, I've been like, I might even said this on this podcast actually when we started. I think there was an Avatar story not too long ago, or towards the beginning of the podcast, where I was like, "Do we care that much?"
Yeah, do we?
Well, it's because Nathaniel and I watched it.
Oh, it might have been. Okay.
And then we really got like kind of into how our last viewing of it was.
Yeah.
Mm.
I want to rewatch it.
Yeah, I haven't watched it.
I'll
I know,
rewatch that movie
yeah.
any day of the week. The cool thing about it is Nathaniel kind of brought it up is, that's
it's on
James
Disney
Cameron can
Plus
kinda-
right now.
yeah, stupid.
Oh, let's go.
Quality's gonna be awesome too.
Oh yeah, I'm excited. I might.
But,
throw it on tonight. I'm not gonna.
I mean, for me, like the James Cameron portion, like he could do it by himself. The cool thing is this is like a pure passion project for him,
Yeah.
which is why these are so good, or why these are going to be so good, is because there's a lot of directors and a lot of movies that kind of lose a little bit of that. The thing that can take them from like a 7 to like a 10, and a lot of that comes from like the creative mind of the director and what they're really kind of allowed to do. And when you get stuck with some of the restrictions that studios give, it's hard to put that in there. But that's why I think these are gonna be great. I have mad love for the first one, and we'll definitely see what the second one's like.
Absolutely.
I'm so excited.
So yeah, you're spot on with them funding directors accordingly and just kind of letting them go on with their vision. So I hear you on that. That's why *Malignant's awesome. They gave James Wan $50 million to make that movie.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's enough Avatar talk here. We can move into another one of the biggest franchises in the last. I can't say like decade, a decade and a half. So we can span both of them in the same time frame. Anyway, Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon has dropped this is like their first full teaser, right?
Yes. I think.
I think so as well. I feel like there's been like small teasers. We saw like there was like a 30-second one that just had like frames almost.
Sure.
But this is like an actual full trailer, it seems like. Look, I've said already, I'm watching this. I'm excited for this. I'm hyped for it. Regardless of this trailer, regardless of anything else, I'm watching it. The first season, guaranteed. But Nathaniel and Ty, I know you guys and Blake, you haven't seen Game of Thrones, so I don't expect you to speak much on this. But Tyler and Nathaniel, I know you guys were a little bit more burned by season 8 and aren't quite as excited as I am for this.
I wasn't really burned by it. I mean, obviously the internet's the internet, and people are gonna hate what they're gonna hate.
Yeah.
But I think it always, anytime somebody gives a bad rap for something that had 8 3/4 of just solid fucking TV.
Yeah.
Like you're talking some of the best shit we've ever seen, and to just be like, "Oh, this show sucks because of the ending." Like, get over it, dude. Just get over it. Like, it was a good show. It's still a good show. I'm sure the ending probably could have been changed, but you can't make everyone happy. And at the end of the day, the series is still probably going to do really, really well. And I'm still excited to see it.
I'm very excited. I can't wait to get back in this universe, man. I've missed it. Also,
Yeah.
Matt Smith? Matt Smith?
If we're playing the care don't care game, like I just don't care on this one. Like,
Don't care.
I didn't expect you to say that.
I like Game of Thrones, and I loved the show, and similar to Tyler, I like the season 8. While I don't think it was great, like I was just kind of like, okay, that's the decision they went to go with. It's cool. It's done. But on this one, in terms of like everything about it, everything I've seen from this trailer, there is not a hook to get me in yet on the show itself. There's not anything I'm seeing where I'm like, oh, I'm really curious about this portion of it. It's not something that for me is drawing me in.
One word for you, Nathaniel. Dragons.
Yeah, but we've seen dragons, and we're only gonna get more dragons when Lord of the Rings comes out. Like I'll be more interested in that at this point.
You want to talk about dragons? Watch Dragonheart and then come talk to me.
Draco. Yeah, everyone should go see Dragonheart.
All the stars shining tonight.
There's a little reference, a little deep cut for you folks.
Yeah, that's a very deep cut.
There's really only like a couple people that I know would get that. Justin for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't care. I don't. You know, if you guys see it and you're like, Nathaniel, you need to watch this, I'll watch it, absolutely. But in terms of like, am I going to be there day dot at the drop? I don't think so at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's going to be part of the kicker for me is I know they're going to probably do this weekly, which is going to push me off a smidge.
They're doing it weekly, 100%.
But I've been doing really well with weekly stuff lately, as far as like, Moon Knight and what's the other one that just came out that we've been kind of talking about?
Boba Fett. Oh, Halo.
Yep. And then we got Obi-Wan coming out. So
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot better with that kind of stuff. I'm trying to get away from, binge watching everything. But yeah, I think I'm excited for this. Adam said really everything that I really care for, and that was Matt Smith.
Right.
He's just ridiculous in everything I've seen him in.
Yeah.
And I actually only got turned on to him because Rob is just the biggest Doctor Who fan that I have ever seen in my entire life.
Speaking of that, some news there this week.
Yep. And so yeah, he's obviously been a doctor, and I've watched a couple other things that he's done, but he's incredible. I love him. I think he's fantastic. So he's really kind of what makes this exciting for me.
If you want to see more of him, go check out Morbius.
You're
Brother.
I'm checking this out day one, guaranteed. So I guess I can report back for everyone who's curious. Speaking of day one, our August 21st, so about 4-ish months out. 3-ish months out. Sorry. But yeah, can't wait. Love Game of Thrones. I don't know if this will beat the original series. That's gonna be pretty hard to do because those first 6 seasons are nearly flawless in my opinion. But man, this is I'm very excited. I think it's still gonna be pretty good.
Has potential.
All right, has potential.
Got the potential.
Well, that's it for trailer talk here. We can get into the long list of Adam Schwartz's completely subjective new to streaming list for the weeks of April 24th through May 14th. Holy crap, it's a long span of time. I'm really just going to fly through this list because there's a lot here. Netflix had David Spade, Nothing Personal, his new stand-up special. Ozark Season 4 Part 2, that came out a couple weeks ago. That's the finale of Ozark. And then there's a Farewell to Ozark. That's a kind of documentary talking about the series. 42, the Jackie Robinson movie. Corpse Bride,
Great
Crazy
movie.
Stupid Love, Forrest Gump, the Jackass movie collection. There's 3 Jackass movies coming to Netflix. Once Upon a Time in America, Rambo and Rambo Last Blood, Road to Perdition, When Harry Met Sally, War of the Worlds, Meltdown, 3 Mile Island. That's like a little short documentary limited series about the 3 Mile Island incident with the nuclear reactor, all that stuff. The Circle Season 4. And then the last thing on the list is a documentary I saw a trailer for that like immediately grabbed my attention, and I don't know exactly when it comes out, but it either is out or it's coming out soon. It's called Our Father. It's a true crime documentary about the search for a fertility doctor who broke every rule and became a father several times over.
Gross.
Essentially, it's gross. Yes. I saw the trailer for it. Basically, these people in this town were doing like those DNA tests, like the 23andMe and Ancestry tests.
Sure.
But when you do those, you get notified when like other people you're related to, you get matched with them.
Yeah.
And so like the first few people that started doing this did it, but they noticed they like kept getting notifications that more and more people they were related to, and they were like half siblings. And it was like to the point where they had dozens of half siblings, but they were all located in the same town essentially. And what they come to find out, and this is all in the trailer, that's why I'm kind of going this deep, is like they essentially think or basically know that this fertility doctor was doing something nefarious and ended up having like all these people that like all these kids with all these different women. Like, yeah,
Gross.
it's kind of wild. Yes, very gross, kind of wild. It just was like the trailer just like was very gripping in that sense, and so like I don't know. I kind of want to check this out, even though it's
Yeah.
kind of a very fucked up story.
That is, that's one of those things that's just so
Yeah.
transgressive. Like,
Yeah.
that's just next level. Like,
Yeah.
if you believe in hell,
Yeah.
that guy is deep within the like center of it at the bottom.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it. He's a bad person. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that
Whoa,
guy
Nathaniel,
not a good
that's
dude.
a hot take, man.
You know what? One or two, maybe I could get over it, but several that they have to make a crime series on Netflix. Not a good guy.
Oh man. Anyway, check that out or any of those things coming to Netflix. Amazon Prime is getting A Few Good Men, A League of Their Own, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Both of those. They're getting Blackfish, which is your. Oh, Nathaniel walked away. It's Nathaniel's favorite doc, right? Is that the one? The one about Shamu?
What is it?
Yeah, Blackfish.
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
Yeah.
That's coming to Amazon Prime. They're getting Black Swan, Call Me by Your Name, Chappie, which you like a lot, Ty, right?
Do you like Chappie?
Yeah. I still haven't seen it. Dazed and Confused, Dodgeball, A True Underdog Story, Fargo, Field of Dreams, Galaxy Quest, Gone Girl, Hannah. I think that's the horror movie, right, Blake?
I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I can't confirm that. I don't think
saw
I've seen that.
Hannah 2011. I feel like I've seen the trailer. Yeah, raised by her father Eric Bana in the Finnish wilderness teenage.
Who made it?
Oh, I could be thinking this is the wrong thing. I'm not thinking the right thing. I'm thinking of something else. I feel like there's a horror movie that was similar, or something like that. This is not similar like that. Anyway, we're just gonna skip over that.
I'm not sure.
Independence Day, yeah. Independence Day, the original. Office Space, Pearl Harbor, Shrek and Shrek 2, Taken, The Iron Giant, The Pursuit of Happiness, and rounding out Amazon's list is Zero Dark 30. Let me take a breath here. That's a lot of reading. Hulu is getting Billy Madison, Dazed and Confused, Despicable Me and Despicable Me 2, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, a pod movie on the Entropy list. Once Upon a Time in America, they're also getting that. Resident Evil, the original, Afterlife, Apocalypse, Extinction, and Retribution. They're getting all of them. So if you for some reason are a Resident Evil fan, go to Hulu. Saving Private Perez, Taken, and The Breakfast Club is that list right there. HBO Max is getting Barry season 3, the premiere. I think that's weekly, but Barry has been a pretty well received show from what I understand. I haven't seen it myself, but I know a lot of people like it. They're getting The Blair Witch Project, 47 Ronin, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, The Fugitive, The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Sorry, Underworld Awakening, and Underworld Rise of the Lycans. And then rounding out that list, The Matrix Resurrections is making a return to HBO.
Also previously on the pod.
Disney Plus is getting Moon Knight episode 5. Did that end already?
Yes, it is over.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot this is spanning 3 weeks. They're getting Moon Knight episode 5 and 6. So those are both out. And then there's 2 baseball things coming. The day the series stopped, this is about the 1989 World Series that happens during an earthquake in San Francisco. And then the Long Gone Summer. This is I think this is a maybe 30 for 30 doc, but it was like ESPN was originally the one that debuted it around the same time that they did the Last Dance. But it's about Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa and their 1998 chase for the most home runs. I think they both ended somewhere around like 60 home runs or something like that.
60-ish, if I'm not mistaken.
Both playing in the NL Central, both rivals, obviously the Cards and the Cubs. So those are both coming to Disney Plus, and that is your newest streaming list. Let's get into what we're watching here, folks.
Sorry, I was going to say, I think both of those are 30 for 30s. I think ESPN, we talked about this a couple times, I think Disney Plus is taking more of the 30 for 30s off of ESPN Plus and moving them over there, which is good because the ESPN Plus app is trash.
Dog shit.
All right. What we're watching here, folks. It's been 3 weeks. sure we've gotten to a lot. Nathaniel, would you like to start us off?
I will start us off. And to be honest with you, I actually haven't gotten to that much. During one of those weeks, I was off in Disney World, not watching too much stuff. So consequently, I finished Moon Knight, episode 5 and 6. I'm sure, Tyler, I think you said you finished it as well.
Yes.
Overall, I really enjoyed it. I think a lot of that was to do with Oscar Isaac and kind of his performance on there. Like I said, Benson and Moorhead, who are two of my favorite directors, did, I think, one episode altogether. The rest of it was done by a single director. And I enjoyed it. It is definitely more separated from the Marvel Universe. So, like, Blake, I think if you wanted to just throw it on at some point, you could definitely watch it and not feel like you were lost or anything like that.
Okay.
It was a cool series overall, and I'm excited to see what they do more of. I don't think it's as... Like, I think in terms of, like, the series that we've seen so far, I put it pretty firmly in the middle. It's definitely not the bottom of my list for sure. But it just... There was something it was missing, I feel like, in some parts. And maybe that is being more connected with the Marvel Universe in general. But it felt like it was a movie-length kind of script and story that they had spread out over these 6 episodes in some areas, I think. Tyler, feel free to back me up or knock me down on that one a little bit.
No, I can agree to that. I think for me, it's a little bit higher. I mean, like on my list as far as the other Marvel TV shows go, I'm kind of putting this in a phase 2 box. So anything that's prior to this, I'm kind of counting as like their TV show phase 1.
Sure.
So as far as like phase 1 stuff, I think Loki kind of has that beef for me by a mile.
Absolutely.
And I think this comes in pretty much right after that. So I think they had a little bit of a low kind of middle period throughout the season. But I think it did enough in the last couple episodes to kind of pick itself back up, and it's got quite a few redeemable qualities. And I actually do like the fact that this is a little bit slower moving for the most part, other than like the obvious action scenes.
Yeah.
But Moon Knight is stupid new to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Which what brings your point in really well, that Blake or anybody could just jump right into this and not really have to think about anything else, because it is so separated. And it's kind of like his origin story essentially. So I actually kind of like that they're able to take their time a little bit and kind of explain him, because 1, he's super new, so a lot of people don't know about him, and 2, his character or characters, however you want to look at it, are very in depth and very confusing, and kind of be a little meticulous to kind of figure out what's kind of going on. But I liked it overall.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. It's something that could have easily become complicated and convoluted. They do a good job of kind of streamlining all of that. But even then, I feel like in kind of like the last couple episodes, there's a couple times where I'm like, wait a second, who's real? What's going on here?
It almost feels like they put a little bit too much. Like, if they were going to spread it out as much as they did, they should have done all of that kind of spread out a little bit more. It feels like the back end is a lot more compact, and the middle is just so drawn out. And it's like, well, you could have.
I agree. And you never know, especially with this stuff too. It's like, what was in COVID, what was filmed outside of lockdown or what too. So, take with that with a little bit of a grain of salt. I am caught up on Demon Slayer, which was awesome. The back half of that Entertainment District arc is, I think, what they called it, which was kind of the second half of the season, was really, really good. The production design and production level on that show is crazy. So if you have any interest in anime at all, or want something that's maybe at least a little newer and want kind of cool visuals, give it a shot. What else did I get to? While we were watching, I watched a lot of Nick Merckx this weekend, because he was playing in the AL Apex Legends Last Chance qualifier circuit. So he's basically trying to qualify for the next round, and he's a streamer, a gamer. His main game is Apex Legends now. They were up pretty far with the team that he's basically started with from, when he was learning the game, which has been about 6 or 7 months or so. So it's been really cool to watch him learn that, pick that up, and now playing at pretty much the pro level. So that was really, really neat as well. I talked a little bit how I was over in Disney World. We stayed at this place called the Coronado Springs Resort, but they had the main building there is called the Destino. And when you go inside, there is at the desk a 55-inch TV that is playing a short film called Destino that was actually a Walt Disney and Salvador Dali co-production. So using like Salvador Dali's art style and everything with coupled with Disney animation. And I asked the lady behind the counter, like, is that a thing? Is that what's going on with that? And they're like, oh, it's on Disney Plus. So I watched this like 15-minute short film that's like a Salvador Dali, insane surrealism short film, all produced by Disney. It's really, really interesting, really, really cool. If you're into, that kind of art world or anything like that, always interesting to see that animation style, and definitely worth checking out, I think, if you wanted that. And kind of piggybacking off of that, I saw Turning Red, which is the newish Pixar movie that came out straight to Disney Plus. I think it was.
How is that?
It's really good. Yeah, it's cute. It's definitely one that's more targeted at like the female experience, and its main character is a little girl. I kind of compared it to when I went and saw Brave for the first time as well too, where it was kind of like that sitting in the theater or watching on TV and be like, this isn't really for me as an audience member, but there's enough in here that I can watch it and like enjoy it still and everything like that. So I definitely think if you're looking for a fun, cute kids movie or something like that, it's worth checking out. So yeah, check out Turning Red if that appeals to you. And then the other kind of big thing that I'm sure we may talk about a little bit as well, but our boy Kendrick dropped The Heart Part 5. And if you've not seen the video for this yet, do yourself a favor, pull it up online, because when you talk about like artists who are intersecting that new media, video, as well as music and writing within there, I mean, Kendrick's just kind of at a different level right now, and I think that video goes a long way to prove that. Tying into that, Turning the Tables did a single review, the first single review they've done on that as well too. So I watched that as well, which is a YouTube channel we've talked about a couple times on the podcast now. It's a guy and his dad, and they are reviewing music. His dad's a expert musician, but a novice with hip hop, and kind of exploring some more of that as well too. So definitely looking forward to the new Kendrick album. But yeah, that's it for what I've been watching. We'll kick it on over to Tyler.
Oh my God!
What?
Thanks, Doc.
You're welcome, dude.
So I actually got around to quite a bit, because I feel like it's been forever. But one thing I did want to say, I don't know if I mentioned it last time we recorded, but Leah and I got around to the John Wayne Gacy documentary, which was pretty crazy.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, that was one thing that I didn't know if I mentioned last week, so I'll just say that first, even though it's kind of at the bottom of my list because I forgot about it. But I did watch and finish Moon Knight. I said my opinions on that earlier. I think it's good, and I'm pleased. I'm pleased. I would recommend it to somebody else that's in the Marvel universe. I also got around to Halo 6 and 7 episodes. Still in it. It's just one of those series that people are like either like really hating or just kind of like, yeah, it's cool, it's whatever. I don't think anybody's like actually out there like, you gotta watch this. So I've been enjoying it. Have you been watching it still?
I'm up to episode 6.
Oh, okay. All right.
So
yeah. What do you think so far?
I've accepted it as it for what it is, but it as someone who was like had such high hopes and knows what a Halo show or movie could be, like it's so disappointing. It's not bad, but it's not like really good. It's like so like okay, and that's fine. It's just I said this on the last time we had what we're watching, so it's been a couple weeks, but it's like we've had good pieces of live action Halo content like Forward Unto Dawn and there's been a couple other things, or even like ad spots that they've done. Like just do that, but do it in a show. Like it's so frustrating knowing personally, like I know what it looks like, I know what it could be, I know there are good stories to tell, and then I see this and I go, oh, this is what you decided to go with that budget. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Like it's just disappointing, but it's like it's fine.
Have they said how many episodes it's going to be?
Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I've just had a question. Have they said how many episodes it's going to be?
I believe 9.
9. Okay.
I haven't looked.
I think it's 9.
Yeah, we'll say 9.
9.
I think it's I think it's always hard to, try and gaming people are just the hardest people to please.
Oh, 100%.
Especially when you get like something as nostalgic as Halo, and
that's
so
very true.
Who knows what this could have been, or what it will be in the future, but yeah, it's okay for now. So
yeah, unfortunately,
it's buildable. The good news is we can really only go up from here. So
yeah, but we could also go. We could go down. We could go down, unfortunately.
Yeah, I guess you could, but wishful thinking.
If they put Quan in more of season 2, like it's going down. Like I hate her. I don't care at all. What an awful character and an awful storyline.
That's hilarious.
God.
Anyways, I also got around to some Forged in Fire, which is just a pod classic.
Yeah.
It's an easy go-to.
This past week, I was like, I want to go back and watch some more Forged in Fire.
They keep adding more, so
yeah,
I'm cool with it. Yeah, and that was with Justin and Foley. They came by and we hung out. So that's always a fun viewing experience.
Have you gotten to the new host yet?
No.
There's a new host, like on some of the episodes that I saw. Will Willis is gone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my boy. WW.
That's terrible. Terrible news.
I actually saw something with Forge and Fire on YouTube, and I instantly thought of you guys because that's how I got introduced to that show, and I don't really watch it at all. Yeah. And then I was just like, man, the algorithms are crazy, man. Like, I don't think I've ever even YouTubed this myself, but nonetheless, it popped up. So
Simulation.
That was maybe like 2-3 days ago.
Yeah, Simulation confirmed.
Another one I got around to is it's actually an anime movie. It's called Bubble. It's on Netflix. It's fairly newer from what I saw. I think it's a Netflix original. I could be wrong. I didn't really do that much research into it, but the animation style was very similar to Wuthering You or Wuthering with You.
Wuthering with You.
Yeah, and Your Name.
Poster above my monitor here.
So yeah, I got into it. I actually liked it. It's just one of those kind of trippy stories that there's also a love interest kind of built into the story, so it's very similar and much in the same vein as both of those movies. So I thoroughly enjoyed myself through that. Did I tell you did I tell you guys we got to a documentary called Polar Bear?
No,
I don't believe so.
All right, so that's
wait, maybe. Actually, no, you might have, but just go anyway. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, either way, it's a doc on Disney Plus. It's called Polar Bear, and it's about polar bears.
No.
Imagine that. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, real talk.
I'm sure that's hella interesting, dude. And polar bears. Polar bears are fucking massive.
They're the biggest bear.
People don't realize
they're
how big they are.
Fucking huge.
Yeah, they're not small.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Was that anything?
I said they're not small.
Yeah, no. Those things would even probably dwarf a grizzly bear. But
however,
that's awesome, man. Did you have any takeaways? What did you learn from it?
I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, the main thing is you really don't learn like a ton about like polar bears in general. The main thing that I think they're trying to bring attention to is that the ice caps are melting, and summer's coming earlier, and winter's coming super late, or if that at all, if they get too much of it at all. And so the polar bears like live on ice, like that's part of their life. And when you convert all that ice into water, it gets very difficult for them, and having the ice is a lot of their food source. And when you take that away, you take away their food source. So it's a little depressing, but it's obviously out there to be educational. And
why don't they just move, Tyler?
Well, because they're polar.
Yeah. Those things are crazy animals, just in terms of stamina and things of that nature. Polar bears can swim for like 20 miles
Yeah, it's crazy.
Dude, yeah, it's nuts, man. I actually caught a crazy video on YouTube, maybe a few months back, but it was a polar bear. It was eating, I think it's a harped seal.
Oh, sure.
I can't remember the exact term of what subspecies seal it was, but man, like that was gruesome. That's like one of the more gruesome things I've seen. You know, when you it's like that Nature's Metal page we talked about before.
Yeah.
It was like something like that. Now you're watching, you're just like, oh man, that's rough.
So yeah, I watched that with Leah. Obviously, we're into Disney and we're into documentaries, so that was something that we wanted to watch. It's about a mom and her 2 cubs. And if you don't know why there's not a dad, it's because dads don't really stick around because they'll probably eat the babies, especially if they're boys.
Just like humans.
I guess males, but
I was like, yeah, that's like similar to humans.
I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. It's called The Guardian. It's Ashton Kutcher. He's part of the Coast Guard.
Yeah.
So it's not even, it's not like the greatest movie out there in the world, but it's kind of like the Top Gun of the Coast Guard. So it's pretty cool and it's informative, and I don't mind Ashton. So he doesn't act anymore because he's too busy fighting sex slaves and stuff like that. So he's a baller.
Physically, he's out there just throwing hands.
I would not doubt it for a second if he's like out there kick-assing it. Just beating the shit out of people with batons.
Just him and Mila Kunis. Just.
Oh man. I got around to a Keanu Reeves classic, 47 Ronin.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, I've never even seen that.
It's not terrible, but it's definitely not anything of like super big note.
Okay.
Nathaniel, you've seen that one, right?
I have not. No, that was one that I
haven't seen that one. Okay.
No, that's one of the ones I missed out on because I think that was around 2013, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it was before the Keanu Sans, so it was one I missed out on, unfortunately. Maybe I'll go back.
I got to an anyways. I got to an older animated series. Well, not series, it's a movie. But there's a couple of them. It's called The Secrets of Nim. It's about rats.
Sure. I remember that one.
Yeah.
That was like a classic rainy day movie, like
100%
at our like elementary school when it was like too rainy to like go out and play in the what is it called, recess or whatever. They would play that instead.
Yeah. Great little movie.
Indoor recess, we would play with tech decks.
That's pretty cool.
Sick.
I don't think we were allowed to have tech decks.
They got really upset with us sometimes, but we made it work.
I'd be robbing people's souls with dodgeballs.
True.
And then another classic. It's an older Western. It's called Tombstone. If you haven't seen it, go see it. It's fucking awesome.
I'll be your Huckleberry.
Yes, sir. And then last but not least, certainly not least, Carolee and I have forever finished Ozark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd you like the ending
how did
here?
it end?
I still haven't seen it. I'm still working my way through.
Where are you at?
Still season 2.
Oh, okay. All right. You gotta wait.
I've seen all the way to season 3. I just haven't seen anything of season 4. And
Yeah.
Started. Yeah.
I hats off, dude. The whole time I've been watching this show, I think it's been 5 years.
Yeah. It's been a while now.
Jason Bateman has just kind of been there the whole way through with me in my heart. And dude, the guy is just incredible. We also watched like a 30-minute like little documentary after
Farewell.
Yep. And it really just gives you an idea of how much work really goes into productions like these. And again, this is definitely, you can tell that this is something that has been a clear passion project for Jason, and it shows in every little bit of it. And you get people, I always forget what the actress name is for Ruth, but
Is it Julie
you get people like
Christie?
her
Something.
who, yeah, something like that. But you get people like her who like started their career on a show like this, and now she's clearly blown up, and she's won an award for this show for supporting actress. Jason Bateman has won an award for this show for directing. Dude, it's incredible. I have fallen in love with it. I think it's extremely well done. I like how they kind of tied everything up for the most part. I think like I always say, everyone's kind of got their little guffs and stuff that they like to kick around, but at the end of the day, overall, it's definitely a show I would recommend to somebody over and over and over again.
Word. Can't wait to finish that show out. That was on my top 5 shows or whatever we did very early on that I was like trying to get people to watch, because like, oh man, that show is so good,
dude. It's really, really great.
Yeah,
if you haven't watched it, go watch it.
It's one of the best shows that like honestly could be Game of Thrones level good, or like that big a quality. It just never like, and it's got hype around it. It never got Game of Thrones level hype, even though I think it's deserving of it. Like I think it's it's a Succession level. It's a Game of Thrones level. It's it's that high in quality that, or Breaking Bad would be the best analogy for it. I think it's Breaking Bad level of good, if not better than Breaking Bad. And it just never it like I said, it's still very popular. I just think it could have been even more popular than it ended up being.
Yeah, I think that's because they knew that this was going to be somewhat short-lived. I don't think they were going to really plan on going anywhere outside of this, which I also kind of like. I really like when TV shows either announce, like we're like a one season like hard stop, or we're getting into these Marvel shows and everything like that, where it's clearly one season, but everything's tied in through a multiverse. But the fact that they said it's 4 and we're stopping at 4, and it is what it is. I like when people call that, because as you guys have seen with my Fast and the Furious passion, it's clearly dwindled over the years just because they keep trying to hammer these things out, and I just don't care for them. And I'm very happy with the way that everything ended, and they put a nice little bow on it.
Yeah, definitely.
So other than that, I'm done.
Blake?
Yeah, I'll dig into it. So let me pull my Letterboxd here. I actually got to a few things, granted, because we haven't discussed this in 2-3 weeks. So I'll kind of start it off then. So back last week, I went on a deep dive of like OG horror. So I actually watched the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I watched the original Friday the 13th. And I watched the original Nightmare on Elm Street. And I watched all 3 of those.
Oh, man, we're going to pause for station identification, folks.
The first time I've seen all.
Yep, that was it right there. You're listening to Smooth Jazz 99.9 KYOT, the Coyote. And we're back. Sorry, Blake. We said that you had watched all 3 of the old school horror movies, and then continue from there. Sorry, we had to pause there for a second.
Yeah, no doubt, bro. Like I said, watched all 3 of those, and that was kind of my first time actually watching those in their entirety. In terms of like front to beginning, I've obviously seen segments of them and classic clips, so it was really interesting. And the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a different film,
dude. It's
for
crazy,
sure.
Right?
Yeah, and I think that's the oldest of those 3, if I remember correctly. I think that's 78 or 76 or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Then I think Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, I think those are early 80s.
Yep.
So yeah, that one was totally the most where I can see that movie still kind of has shades of it can be a modern horror movie. Like there's a lot of takes of daylight. There's not really a lot of jump scares. There's not even really a lot of dialogue in that movie, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, nonetheless, that was actually really good.
That's one that builds. It builds and builds and builds, and then at the end of it, you're just going, "What the hell is going on?"
Yeah,
and you're like, "Are these crazy people? Are these actors? Did they get real crazy people? Because they can act really well, but what the hell is going on here?"
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right, man. So yeah, that was interesting, and I've seen. Obviously, I've seen the ending clips. I've seen the clips of when they find Leatherface for the first time, and he just pops out like
of the door. Just the slam shut.
No anything. Just open door, grabs her, slams the door. It's okay. So I've seen that stuff. But yeah, nonetheless, really, really good. And that also made me appreciate the remake, the 2003 remake. I think
Sure.
with Jessica Biel.
Yeah.
That movie's not that bad either, and it's not too far off of that. Just in terms of kind of the tone and how they attacked it. Nightmare on Elm Street, got to that. Wes Craven. I didn't know Johnny Depp was in this movie.
Yeah.
So I knew it, but I didn't know.
Right,
you know what I
right.
mean? So I'm watching it, and I'm like, oh my God, that's Johnny Depp. And then like it finally hit me, and I was like, that I always knew that there was young Johnny Depp in here.
Yep. And he gets eaten by a bed.
Yeah. So that was cool. And that was one that I probably knew the most of prior to watching it front to beginning at one sitting, just because I've seen so many clips of that, and I've seen so many
sequels and
sit downs of that, and pop culture and the deaths and everything.
Of course.
So that was actually really interesting. And then Friday the 13th, that one's probably the most like hokey, gimmicky.
Yeah, for sure.
One. But that already wasn't my favorite of the OG slashers, to be honest. That was always kind of my bottom series, where I didn't really like the remakes. I didn't really care for any of like Jason X, Jason Goes to Mars, whatever it is. I've seen a handful of those. Didn't really like any of them. So nonetheless, OG Horror Binge, that's dope. I'll see if I want to follow up with the sequels on those. It's going to be a hard commitment, though, so I don't know if I'll do that. Outside of that, I got to the Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
The Nick Cage one. Yeah.
And Pedro Pascal. So I saw that, and pretty good, man. I wish I was more knowledgeable of Nick Cageology. I'll coin that term.
Sure.
Prior to watching that, but I knew enough to get the jokes, and I knew enough to appreciate the film.
Okay.
But I think like if you're like a Nick Cage diehard fan, like that movie is probably fucking awesome to you.
Sure.
Because it's gonna cater to everything you want. But yeah, nonetheless, still an overall good comedy. Pedro Pascal's awesome as well. We've had him in there. We didn't really like Wonder Woman 1984, but we all kind of admitted that hey, he did the best what he could with that script. So that was another thing I got to. I wanted to get to everything all at once, but I just didn't have enough time to make it over there. What else did I end up getting to? Mother's Day. So I went home, and then I watched a few movies with my mom. So nonetheless, we just watched like some classic joints. So we actually watched, we kind of had like Friday running on in the background. Just a super classic black comedy that came out maybe like 95, 96 or something like that. So we had that one running, and we had another one with Martin Lawrence running in the background called Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins. That's him, Cedric the Entertainer, a few other people. But like I said, those are just kind of older black comedies that still hold up to be pretty funny. And that's it. YouTube, Turning the Tables. They did the Damn episode. I don't even know if we talked about that the last time we did, but that's obviously something I clicked like fucking immediately. The Heart Part 5, that's something I clicked immediately. You know what I mean? So definitely following them. And as we said, I'm sure they're going to do the new K-Dot album when it releases. I'm sure they'll have an episode on that over the weekend, if not by Monday, I'd assume.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll all tap in and click into that right away and see how it goes.
2 days, right?
Yeah, Friday. Friday is coming out.
Oh,
so that'll be dope. Thursday night, it'll be there.
Yeah,
and that may be one I'll actually
I might stay
up till like 11 p.m. and click it for sure.
Oh, I'm on 100%.
I don't do that for every release, but if there's artists I genuinely enjoy, I'll definitely stay up to the 11, click it, put some headphones on, and listen to it. And this is one of those for sure.
Yeah. This is 100% one of those.
Yeah. So that's all I had. Adam?
Yeah, I'm going to breeze through my list pretty quick because we are running long here. I've gotten to Halo show. I don't need to talk much more about that, nor do I really want to. The Miami GP.
Yeah.
That was another, I want to say good race, but like it was fine. Nothing like that exciting happened. Tyler's not here to talk about that, so that's unfortunate. But it was a good race. Still Max Verstappen. I'm sure Tyler is very excited for that. Max Verstappen took the race there. Mercedes seems to be having a little bit of a comeback. We'll see how we'll see how long it takes them to kind of match the pace of the Ferrari Red Bull. But Honestly, like I don't know how much there is they can do at this point. Like they are not that close to Ferrari and Red Bull in pace. Like it would take a lot for them to catch up, and not only that, catch up soon enough where they are still championship
Viable,
contenders, both
yeah.
for drivers and for the constructors. That being said, I mean Russell has placed in the top 5 every single race, which is good, and Hamilton he's still up there, but he's not in the top 3 consistently like he has been for the past 7 years. So. We'll see what Mercedes can do, but I'm still enjoying this Ferrari Red Bull bout. It's still fun to watch, and Verstappen is still making the most of his season, even though he kind of got off to a rough start. So we'll see where this goes. I'm really enjoying the racing this season. It's been really good. The other thing, so I got to 2 other things. One of them is called Winning Time: The Rise of the Lakers Dynasty.
Oh yes, on HBO Max, right?
On HBO Max, yeah. It's a biopic show about Magic Johnson and him first coming to the Lakers and kind of starting off that Lakers dynasty that came about in the 80s. It's actually it's hard to say, like it's not like really good, like you must go watch it, but it's good. It's pretty good. It's by the same directors of The Big Short. So that immediately caught my attention when I saw that, because I really like The Big Short, and they actually keep a little bit of the same kind of filmmaking style in some senses, where like they do break the fourth wall pretty often. The characters do. We'll talk to the camera, and I was actually kind of off put by that in the first episode, because they do it constantly in the first episode, but after that they don't do it nearly as much. It's kind of just them introducing all the characters. So in that regard, I was like actually pretty happy with how they did it, because they used it effectively in the first episode, and afterwards they would do it in a bit or two. Going forward. But another cool thing about that is it's shot really interestingly, where like the main camera they're using, I think it's like a 4K camera that they're adding film grain to, but they also like always have like a B camera that is either having some kind of digital effect done to it, or it actually just might be like a 1980s almost like tape recording camera or something like that, where it's got the film burn, it's got that kind of stuff on it, and they're intermixing the two. And it's really interesting. So I liked that a lot. The series itself is really fun. Pretty good storyline, and they even give a disclaimer like, oh, the events of the show are dramatized or whatever, and it's heavily dramatized. Like I don't know how serious some of this stuff is, or like how they play up some things more than others, but. Or maybe more than it should be, but overall it's really good. John C. Reilly is the highlight of that for me. He plays the guy who buys the Lakers and then drafts Magic Johnson the series or the season before they start, kind of going for it. So he really proved himself in this for me, where like he's in Step Brothers. Everyone I feel like kind of knows who John C. Reilly is, but he's never really broken out. This kind of feels like his breakout role as like an actor. Like, yeah, it's still a comedic show. He still is, it's comedy, that kind of thing. But like, he is playing a character in this, and he plays it really, really well. So he was kind of the highlight for me. But besides that, like, good show. Would recommend if you're interested. Basketball, kind of cool, stylized. If you like the storytelling, The Big Short, it's kind of similar. So I liked it overall. And then the other thing I kind of just started watching just the other night is a new Netflix show called, I think it's called, I don't know the official name. It's called like Bullshit the Game Show or something like that. It's a game show hosted by Howie Mandel, who I have now decided is probably the best game show host to ever live. Like, this man was made.
Is this on Netflix?
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, I think I saw like a little trailer or like a preview of the show or something like that.
Yeah. It's Howie Mandel is great. I think he might be the best game show host of all time. Like, he's born for this kind of stuff. Like, he's so good at it. But anyway, the concept of the show, it's actually pretty good. It's kind of like Do You Want to Be a Millionaire? It's a quiz show. You're asked a question. You have 4 answers that are presented in front of you. If you know the right answer, you click the right answer. And then you move forward on to the next round. Essentially, there's nothing that can change. Like, if you get it right, you move on. If you don't know the right answer, you have to pick an answer. And in front of you are 3 people who are judging whether you know the answer or not. So if you don't know the answer, you're bullshitting and you're pretending you're trying to explain why it is that you know that this is correct, even though you don't. So you have to come up with a reason on the spot as like some kind of justification for how you know the answer is real, and you have to convince the people in front of you that you're not lying. And the incentive for the people that are judging the person to not just say bullshit every time, because like essentially you get to the next round if one person believes you of the 3. So if you lose if all three 3 people call bullshit. And the way that the incentive goes for the people calling bullshit is whoever has the highest accuracy when that person gets out, like whoever's guessed the most times, whether they were right or bullshitting, they are next in the hot seat. So like everyone has an incentive to try their hardest. So it's not like you're trying to screw the person over by like saying bullshit and then they just knock them out. Like you are trying to get everything right so that you can get in the seat next. But it's also like hard then because you don't know if they're lying. Like it's actually a pretty good show. Like it was mildly entertaining. I just needed something. I've been working on finals and finishing up this semester.
So non TV.
Yeah, just something, nothing too complex. And Howie Mandel is pretty funny. The weird part about this, and I noticed this about 15 minutes in, they have laughter and they have an audience and they have a clap and everything like that. But it's all, I'm almost positive, like I'm 99% sure it's done in post. Like almost 100% sure. Pretty much, I'm almost like it's done in post, and they never show an audience, even though you hear them laughing, clapping, applause, all that kind of stuff. They never show the audience. The people on the show never really turn or reference or look at an audience.
To acknowledge an audience.
Yeah, and then the other thing that's really weird about it is like naturally, like when there's a live studio audience, like they're gonna react. Usually when the person, whoever it is done saying whatever it is, whether it's going to be laughing or applause, like they'll react after they're done saying that. But before, like, even though there's like that big reaction after they're done saying it, there's usually like a small ramp up that overlaps in between what was being said. Like people got, know early what's coming, and they'll start their applause, or start some people or two, a person or two will start laughing, before the joke's over, that kind of thing. But like there's several moments in this where it's like, there's like someone finishes what they're saying. There's like a beat of silence, and then the laugh track comes in. Like it's just kind of awkwardly done like that. And once you notice that, it's hard to like stop noticing it. But that's the only thing about it. Besides that, like I said, pretty entertaining, kind of fun. The trivia questions, super like, random, and kind of, not anything like super, academic or anything like that. It's kind of just like random trivia questions. So pretty good. If you're looking for something mind-numbing, like I said, you can go check that out. That's it for my list. I don't know. I might watch a few other things, but I can't remember. It's been a long time. Anyway.
Cool. No doubt.
Yeah. Let's get into the review here, guys.
Let's hop into it, fellas.
Like I said, we're running a little long on time, so we're gonna try to do this as fast as possible. But regardless of that, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the main review segment of the podcast. Nathaniel, if the listener here is new, or maybe they've just forgotten, can give them a rundown of how our review segment works.
What up, folks? It's been a little while, so if you are new, or maybe you've just forgotten, the way the main review segment works here at Back Row Banter is it is divided into 2 sections. There's the non-spoiler section, and then there's the spoiler section. It's pretty self-explanatory. In the non-spoiler section, we'll go through the IMDb plot summary, go around the squadron, give our first reactions, and then decide if we recommend this movie. It has to be a yes or no. There is no nuance on the internet. Once we've gone around and all done that, it'll be spoiler time. We'll mark it in the show notes. I'll play the spoiler noise. So that way you have a good long run to not be spoiled. But after that, we'll go into our deeper thoughts on the movie, any big spoilers or twists. And then do come back, even if you haven't listened to that spoiler section, to listen to the end of the podcast, where we will rank it up on our Entropy list, which is our big list of everything we've watched on the podcast, ranked. So with that being said, Adam, tell me about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
I would love to. What a long movie title. It's going to be a tough one to fit on the graphic this week, but that's a me problem. This is a new movie, of course. The latest Marvel movie in a long line of Marvel movies and shows. Rated PG-13, which has, for some reason on Twitter, been a controversial issue, I guess, but we can get into that in spoilers. And a runtime of 2 hours and 6 minutes, and an IMDb rating of 7.5 out of 10, which is pretty good. Directed by Sam Raimi, making his return to the superhero screen. Written by Michael Waldron, who I am actually not too familiar with and forgot to check out.
He wrote Loki and is a writer on Rick and Morty.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very good. All right. Starring Benedict Cumberbatch, of course. Welcome back to the Entropy list, Benedict. Elizabeth Olsen. Chiwetel, I can't even, Eufior? I don't know that name. And then there's America, whose name is Exotl.
Shochi.
That's how it's pronounced?
I'm not sure about the end bit of it, but I know she goes by Shochi, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I believe that's how you pronounce it. I grew
Okay.
up with a woman who had the same
That's
name
just
in
hard.
school.
Yeah, it's just a lot of. There's an X at the beginning, and that just throws me off. But Shoti Gomez, Benedict Wong, Rachel McAdams, and I'm gonna leave it there because there are some cast members that could be seen as spoilers. But that's kind of your main crew, you know. The IMDb summary reads as follows. Dr. Stephen Strange casts a forbidden spell that opens the doorway to the multiverse, including alternate versions of himself, whose threat to humanity is too great for the combined forces of Strange, Wong, and Wanda Maximoff. Is this the right movie? Like, that's terrible. Like, I guess it's hard to kind of sum this up without spoiling stuff, but like, that's not even like what this movie is.
But that is what the trailers lead you to believe, I would say.
Sure. And then we can go with that, and I guess we'll get into spoilers. Yeah, to actually give you a real summary of the movie, Doctor Strange, we've been introduced to the multiverse. This is kind of the first time, I guess, we have Far From Home. That was the first introduction of the actual multiverse. But now they're traversing it. They are going to other universes instead of the universes coming to them. So it's him, Wong, Wanda, Scarlet Witch, and a new character called America. And
America.
to say much more would be spoilery, sure. But yeah, they kind of go to some interesting places. We see some interesting characters. Yeah, I guess I'll just leave it at that. I mean, it's hard, like I said, hard to get into this without spoiling too much. What I'll say is it's kind of interesting that this is like the first sequel we've had to Doctor Strange, because that feels like a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't gotten, what was that, 2014?
16.
16.
Oh, wow. Okay. I felt like that was way sooner, but yeah, you're right. Or sorry, way later.
I'm with you. That was still later than I thought it was. I thought it was like
Yeah.
18, and then I looked and I was like, oh my God, it has been
Yeah.
6 years.
It's been a while. But anyway. Yeah, so this is finally another Doctor Strange solo film. That being said, he's been in how many Marvel movies now? A lot of them.
5, I want to say. He had his.
Benedict, get in that bag, bro. He's rolling.
He had his.
Yeah, that's why it's kind of hard for me to almost like count this as a sequel, and it doesn't feel like there's that big of a gap between the first one and the second one, because there has been so many other things that we've seen him in that have happened to where this just feels like another part of like the Marvel puzzle. It almost feels like there isn't like a 1, 2, or 3 of any of these movies anymore.
This is the 6th Marvel movie with Doctor Strange in it.
Well, there you go. 6 movies in 6 years.
Hey.
Wow.
Running strong. Alrighty. Thoughts here, gentlemen. Non-spoiler thoughts, of course.
Sure, I guess I'll volunteer myself to go first, considering I'm probably the least Marvel friendly guy here, but I do like Marvel. Overall, I liked it better than I thought I would, to be completely honest with you.
Okay,
that's good.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's almost like the victim of like a Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, just of greatness, right? Where like I knew the movie wasn't going to be bad, right? So like I decided there's no way I'm going to go here and be like, wow, this fucking sucks. So I knew that wasn't going to happen, but then I actually got there and watched it, and I was like, hey, I think I like this a little bit more than I would have. And I think all 3 of you can probably assume why I like this way more than I thought I was going to. And that has to do with it being directed by Sam Raimi, who I didn't even know I just didn't really pay attention to like trailers or anything of this nature. And so the credits rolled, and then I was like, this movie makes so much sense to me. It's so funny. Yeah. Where before I was like, this is interesting.
They really stepped out of their zone here. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just
see credits roll, Sam Raimi.
Oh. I kid you not, that's exactly what happened. And I was just like, this makes so much sense. And I like it. So yeah. That's my quick non-spoiler. I'll pass it to somebody else.
Yeah, I'll go. I love this one. This is probably my favorite Marvel movie in a long time. Just in terms of that, I like this more right now than Spider-Man: No Way Home. I'll say that, having come off of this a couple days ago now. But yeah, this is definitely my favorite in a long time for reasons. I'm sure we'll get more into spoilers, but in layman's terms, I guess it's a movie with consequences. Like for so long now. Excuse me. I think we've been kind of felt like in the Marvel universe, at least, it's been kind of spinning its wheels a little bit. This feels like a movie that, while not necessarily advancing the overall plot of the Marvel universe forward too much, I mean, there's some pretty significant changes it makes on there. As a complete movie, it didn't just feel like another episode in the Marvel library or the Marvel catalog.
Pushes some boundaries.
Yeah, exactly. This is a movie with actual movie themes, and there's setup and consequence, and there's things that are started in the first half that are resolved in the last half. There's little moments throughout it that come back up again. I just, I really, really enjoyed my time with this one, and I think it will be somewhat divisive. This one definitely feels like a love it or hate it. The Sam Raimi of it all definitely stands out. But, yeah, one of my favorites in the Marvel thing for a while. Marvel catalog, I guess you could call it. So recommend from me. Tyler or Adam?
Yeah, I can go. I'm kind of like in between you two. I'm not like a full blown, this is like something that I'm like obsessed with, but this is like kind of where I figured it was going to be. I thought I kind of went into this knowing it was going to be pretty good. And it's just kind of always hard to figure out, what kind of direction they're going to go, because there are so many directions they can go. The only thing, you know what, that's a later point talk. But there's only like one thing that was kind of a little bothersome to me. But other than that, the filming was really well done on this. And this is one that you can kind of really get messed up on because of all the different angles and, stuff like that they kind of play with. But I thought everything was done really well there. Benedict Cumberbatch is phenomenal. I love him. I love him as Doctor Strange. He's always just kind of dude, Disney's just kind of really done this thing where they cast somebody and everybody is just caught on this thing, whereas like nobody else will ever play that character like that actor. And I think you see it a lot with Robert Downey Jr. I think you see it a lot with like Logan, Hugh Jackman. Like that's another one that's going to be like really hard to beat. Yeah. Sure. But I think, this is just like one of those other ones that's like, I don't know, man. No, I don't know if anybody else is going to be able to play that guy. And so he does a really good job. But overall, storyline's great. Acting's done really well, not just on Benedict's part, but everybody else. There are some cool ass surprises in here that I was very happy to see. And we can talk about that stuff later. But it's a recommend for me for sure.
Cool. Yeah, I overall really pleased. Like I knew, like Blake said, I knew going into this it was going to be good, especially with Sam Raimi behind it. I will say, like, I think Sam Raimi was like the difference maker for me here, where there were so many like unique things that were brought back to the superhero movie that were kind of like refreshing to see, because Marvel's kind of gotten this formula down pretty down pat. A lot of these movies have the same kind of beats and everything like that, and I think Sam Raimi just was like, why don't we just make it fun? Like, why don't we do some like fun stuff for once? Like, I was really happy to see a lot of that stuff, and I'll get into the specifics of that point once we get into the spoilers. But Sam Raimi, like, he made the difference for this movie for me, and I really enjoyed it. Is it like the best Marvel movie there? No, but I think Nathaniel said he likes it more than No Way Home. I think just the emotional impact for No Way Home is still going to stick with me. That being said, I think this is right under that for the second, or my favorite like Marvel movie in Phase 4. Out of Shang-Chi, Black Widow, and Eternals, those three are definitely under this, and then it's No Way Home in this one for sure. But yeah, it was great seeing Doctor Strange back, like Benedict Cumberbatch. it wasn't until like after the movie was over that I thought about this. Was like, I just saw this man play like a farmer or a cowboy in Power Dog, and now he's here being the superhero. Like he's really good. He's really, really good. Like,
Acting.
I think he needs even more props than he's been getting. I think he got kind of snubbed by Will Smith for that best actor.
100%, and he wouldn't have slapped anybody.
Yeah, exactly, right? He was very polite. He's a gentleman. But yeah, even beyond that, like everyone else is really good, and definitely recommend for me, especially if you've seen Marvel. Like they're not missing. They're not missing. That being said, how many more Marvel movies do I want? I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna keep seeing them, and I think that's the issue. But it's so much at this point. It just felt like until from Iron Man and Hulk to Endgame, like it felt like we were progressing a story, an overall arc, and everything like that. And these 5 now Phase 4 movies, it's like Nathaniel was saying, like they all kind of just are there. And nothing, and this is kind of the first one that seems like it's starting to thread a needle in a certain direction, and that's good. But they need to start doing some more of that to get me, like, if they want to get me rehooked, like that, I need more of that kind of stuff. And so this was definitely a step in the right direction in that regard. I'm a recommend. You guys are all recommends as well, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think that means it is time for spoiler talk here. So if you've not seen Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, go ahead and check the episode description where I've left a timestamp you can jump to, where you'll be taken to the ranking of the movie up upon the Entropy list.
Hop upon.
Spoilers.
Shit goes down.
Shit goes
in
down.
Several universes. I feel like that noise makes is most appropriate for this movie.
There you go.
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, I went into this pretty blind, not even knowing who the director was going to be, Sam Raimi. And then I'm watching this, and I'm like, is this a fucking horror movie? That's like the first thing I thought. Like, I was like, is this Marvel's attempt at a horror movie, right? And
that was something that almost immediately crossed my mind at some point, and I was like, this is very on the edge of horror. I was like, I'm kind of in.
Yeah, I definitely think that's Marvel kind of shooting that at the chalkboard to see what'll stick. And I guess we'll have to see how it does in the long run. But yeah, I mean, that was definitely refreshing to see for me, because I've just been exhausted on Marvel shit and just saw kind of like the same jokes and the same tone in every movie. And it was really refreshing just to see something new. And even like dark and grim and stuff as well. And yeah, that was awesome, man. I can't even tell you like how much of a shock that was to me.
Sure.
I honestly went in this thinking like it was going to be like the 20 other Marvel movies we've seen. You know what I mean?
That kind of action comedy, quippy. Yeah, for sure.
Right. Which, I mean, I wasn't going to necessarily complain about. I was like, yeah, that'll work, but this was totally different than what I thought it was going to be, man. And I'm good with that.
It's good. Yes. Please give us more of this kind of stuff for sure.
So you got to think outside the box, man.
Yeah. Let's start off with the good stuff. I was gonna go into my criticisms, but I feel like we go criticisms initially all the time, and I want to get it started with the good stuff. Let's go immediately to the Illuminati scene where we get Sir Patrick Stewart back as Professor X.
Yeah, that was dope.
And we get a live action Captain Britain. Is that what she's called?
Yes.
Something like that.
Captain Carter.
But yeah, Peggy Carter as Captain America, essentially. I don't know who that black voice guy was. What was his name?
Black
Bolt.
Black Bolt.
I believe.
Black Bolt. Yeah. I wasn't familiar with him. I'm sure he's got a long history in the comics or something like that. I don't know.
He's the leader of the Inhumans, and he was also the.
Oh, okay.
He was the lead on the Inhuman show that came out that everyone forgot that Marvel did because it's awful.
Yeah, I never saw that. So that was cool. The biggest one to me was John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic. Dude, when I saw that, I lost my shit.
So he has been wanting to be in the Marvel Universe forever.
Yeah.
And I forgot what he was originally wanting to be casted as.
He screen read for Captain America.
Yeah, that was one.
Yeah.
I feel like there's another one even since then. that he did for something else. But
I actually read something before this where he had kind of said in an interview that like he would also be totally down for being Mr. Fantastic. And when he just appeared, I was like, "Whoa, let's go!"
Yeah.
I was like, "Dude, that's
so
sick."
cool. It was so cool.
Because like Fantastic Four is just something that just needs a huge redemption because it's so good, and it's actually a large part of the Marvel universe that a lot of people just don't know about.
For sure.
Yeah. And it's gonna be so cool to see where that goes, because if he's involved, I'm fucking in 110%.
Yeah, no, he has, like, there's no way they tease that and he's not Mr. Fantastic in the rest of the MCU.
No,
like he has to be.
Although
he has to be.
That would be funny as fuck.
That'd be trolly as fuck, and I'd be pissed. No, I'd be livid. No, that is such a perfect
point taken. I'm happy.
Yeah, I know. I was so happy to see that, and then also like Patrick Stewart, seeing him roll in.
Just a classic.
That was nice.
Yeah, that was nice to finally see him come into the grander realm of MCU. And I we'll see what they end up doing with Professor X, because if I had to guess, I don't think he'd come back as like a mainline Professor X.
Looked
I don't know if he
1,000 years old in that.
That's what I was gonna say. Is I don't know if he really wants to. I don't know if the character's really there for that. But it was still cool regardless. Like no matter what happens with that character going forward, that was really cool to see. So all of that was awesome.
Yeah, dude, that was dope. I love him as Professor X, and again, just a massive part of the Marvel universe.
Talk about characters
has just been kind of lost.
Talk about characters you couldn't see anyone else playing. Like that is another.
Yeah, one. Facts, 100%.
What's the McAvoy? The dude who plays him in the younger.
Yeah, on the newer. Yeah, he doesn't play.
He does
that
a good job.
bad.
No, he does a good job
He's a good
for
actor,
sure.
though.
But he's not Sir Patrick Stewart.
No,
he's just not. So that was awesome.
Get knighted, then we'll talk.
Yeah, exactly. Lewis Hamilton could play Professor X. He's a knight.
Facts.
Yeah. Let's get him in there. Anyway, the other thing that was really cool, like I talked about like how unique this movie felt and how Sam Raimi was like, let's have some fun. Like this felt like a really good like superhero movie. Like there's a lot of the parts of this that felt very comic booky. There's two fight scenes in particular. There's one where Doctor Strange and I forgot the other dude's name. What's his character's name? Baron Mordo. Mordo. Like where they both have the magic cuffs on, so they can't spellcast, and so they're just having a fist fight.
Yeah,
I was like he walked into the writer's room. He's like, Doctor Strange fighting without magic. Like, what does that look like?
Yeah.
And they do it, and it's an awesome hand-to-hand fight. Like that is one of the best like fights we've had, especially knowing like the fact that like we have never seen Doctor Strange kind of have to do that kind of thing.
Hours.
So yeah, exactly. So that was really cool. And then the music scene, the music fight scene.
Yeah, that's the best scene.
That was
awesome.
So cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved that part.
You could
too.
just hear Danny
really
Elfman salivating in the background. He's just like, I get to do a music fight. Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm with you wholeheartedly on the music fight scene. That was super dope and just super innovative. Like I've never even seen anything like that before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, that hella props to Sam Raimi for that.
Right.
In terms of the hand-to-hand fight scene, I liked it. It's not my favorite. I just don't like when they do hand-to-hand fight scenes and it's so choppy and there's so many cuts.
Sure.
And they just did that so much in that fight. But still, it was interesting, to your point, to actually see Doctor Strange fight, because we've never seen that before, right? So it was actually cool to say, okay, like how would he stand up as a human fighting without being able to cast spells? But yeah, man, that's kind of my two thoughts on that. Anybody else have any thoughts on those?
My biggest thing was just when they're all like, all right, cool, let's go fight Scarlet Witch, and then she just starts dominating and like immediately takes Black Bolt off the table by just imploding his head.
That was
like
great.
I was
that was cool.
What?
Was cool.
I was like, dude, that's so sick.
Yeah.
Just turns
and
John
then
Krasinski into string cheese.
she just like takes apart Mr. Fantastic, just strings, and then just
Yeah.
Dude, yeah. Yeah, well, she's is she technically a mutant?
Yeah,
No.
she's technically part of X-Men.
She's
pretty
basically,
sure-
in my opinion, she's basically Jean Grey. It's like basically what she is.
Yeah.
They're very similar as far as story arcs go. I would definitely agree to that.
We just watched I just watched a little bit of a video. She is actually not a mutant, at least in the current continuity. Like,
well, because she was tested on in Sokovia,
right,
and she was essentially given those powers due to a bunch of tests.
Well, they've retconned that even too, because in WandaVision, it's like revealed that she still had the powers ahead of time, like she just had them because she is the Scarlet Witch, and then the Mind Stone opened her up even more. And like let her get even like better control of it and everything like that.
Got it. Well, she's a crazy bitch in this.
Yeah, no, she's awesome. I love the early reveal too.
I loved every second of it.
And what a great like use of that character, like to just turn her into a villain like that, especially after WandaVision, where it was kind of left kind of vague. Like everyone kind of assumed like, oh, she'd have that redemption arc where she goes back to being a hero, but no, they just say no, you're a villain now. Like you're
complete opposite.
Yeah, and I think they can still bring her back. We didn't necessarily see her die per se.
Right.
Like, yeah, the building collapsed on her, but she's a Scarlet Witch. She might come back.
And it's a
I saw on
multiverse.
Twitter like a quote that she doesn't know what her future is. Like at least she said she doesn't know what they have planned for the character, but they could bring her back if they wanted to, and they probably will.
Yeah, there's a million ways they could at this point. But yes, like, and to my point, what I was talking about prior to the spoiler break, like, I, after WandaVision, was like, okay, so we're just fine with this now. Like, she took over a town and, like, put a bunch of people in psychic prison. And then we're just all cool with that. And then I was just really thankful that that's paid off in this movie almost immediately.
Definitely.
You know, and
Yep.
she's a villain. And, like, that's cool. Like, good. We're moving forward. We're getting things, we're
progressing.
We're progressing, yeah. And, like, I loved the villain turn, like, almost immediately. As we kind of referenced earlier, the trailers, I think, set you up, and, like, that IMDb summary thing set you up. Like, we all kind of maybe knew that was something that she might be leaning towards, but you thought it would kind of be like a character setup. You know, they're working together for a little bit, and then she gets tempted or goes bad. I really love that. It's just like
all the time,
right? Yeah, well, I really love that she's just like, no, we're evil. Like, this is it now. I've been driven to this point because of this, and we as the audience are like, okay, yeah, I buy it. I 100% understand why we're here, and that makes her so much a better villain. And then just the perfect marriage of that source material and Sam Raimi as like the ultimate witchy guy. Like, he makes her a witch, which hasn't really been brought to the forefront too much in the thing. It's often been like,
WandaVision a little bit.
But but it's like she can shoot red lasers and can sometimes kind of talk to people. Now it's like, okay, she is a witch. She has control of magic that's different than the magic that I have. And like now there's this kind of more separation on there. And then just as Blake and I have touted a million times, just the horror elements of this are awesome. Like, I'm so happy.
Really quick, back to her like being a villain. The line that really got me was like, I put a hole in my lover's heart and it meant her head and it meant nothing. And I was like, damn, like what a good callback to like bring that back to the forefront. And that was like really like a great piece of material there to like kind of just like that makes complete sense. And then also like the thing with her in WandaVision, everything like that, like.
And the children.
It all made sense. Like, I wasn't mad that she was the villain. Didn't feel like it was just like, oh, they were just using her as a villain because like that's who they wanted it to be. Like, no, they build up to this very well, and you know the payoff from WandaVision and everything. And Blake didn't watch that, but I'm sure it still made sense for you regardless, right?
Yeah, because I haven't watched any of the Marvel shows, and I was still able to kind of to follow along for the most part.
Yeah.
I already kind of knew once they were trying to figure out what was going on. Then he's like, hey, like, I don't think this is sorcery, it's witchcraft. And I was like, okay, I think it's definitely going to be Scarlet Witch. So, it's overall good, though. But I think to Adam's point, though, with her being used as the villain, and I think her motive is very tangible, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You're 100% bought in with her.
Yeah, that's what makes the movie good, right? So like you already have that running, and it's not just like hero meets bad guy fights. You know what I mean? It's like they fight, hero loses, hero does XYZ quest, comes back and beats bad guy. Right. This movie is not like that, and that's how like 90% of those Marvel movies are. And that alone has enough going for it, in my opinion, to get one of the better Marvel movies of recent years. And I would probably say, in my opinion, it would be in top 2 tiers of my favorite.
Oh,
Marvel
definitely.
movies.
Yeah. I will say, like, I feel like Marvel has been doing a better job of this, and it's something that's made their villains so much better since the end of towards the end of phase 3, is like having the villains be relatable, and like you seeing their sides and seeing their justification and everything, like that's gonna make them 3 times better. You relate to heroes because like you know have the empathy for them, you can see what you know their morals and everything like that. You can align with them yourself, and doing the same thing with villains makes it you that much more engaged when you can relate to both sides and stuff like that. Like Thanos, you know, yeah, erasing half the universe, sure, but like he's got some decent points with like there's too many people, not enough resources.
Yeah, we're overpopulated.
Yeah, and then they even play that out in Endgame where it's like Cap has that line. He's like, you know, the Marina looked clear as fuck. Like the Marina was really clear, you know. And then Scarlett Johansson was like, really, dude? Come on, that's not, yeah. But then also like, what was the other one I was thinking of? I forgot. But yeah, they've been doing that a little bit more recently, and that's making their villains a lot better.
Yeah.
Well, and even just to piggyback off that real quick, Adam, like I like that in this too. Doctor Strange is still kind of a dick. Like you don't have to relate to you don't have to relate to your heroes either. Like they're not supposed to necessarily be the person that you emulate all the time. Yeah. You're supposed to see their failings. That is part of the hero journey on here, and it's like so often I think too it's just like, well, the Avengers are the good guys. Yeah, they might have some kind of lip servicey like, well, this was really bad, but you know, he killed 50 people, but we're not going to kill him because that would make us just as bad as him. It's like, no, you killed 30 people to get to that guy too. Like now, like, what is this bullshit? Like kind of like hemming and hawing back and forth. This one's more like, no, there's problems here, but this is the best course of action. And I love that they even set that up too with the doctor at the start. He's like, was that really the only idea that you had here? Like killing, you know, you brought everyone back, but you did kill half the universe for 5 years. And like, that has consequences too, especially as someone who knows you as this arrogant doctor who only wants to take, you know, whatever works out best for him. I thought that was really interesting character work that they did there as well too.
Yeah. I will say the one thing that did bother me the most in this movie was it just feels like at this point, especially after we saw Doctor Strange in No Way Home, like Doctor Strange has become very inconsistent in both kind of his character and what he can do with his powers. I just feel like we've seen him be very strong. We've seen him take on Thanos, and we've seen him take on Vision and Scarlet Witch almost, or like match their abilities. And in this one, it definitely felt like it was like, what can he do? Like it just didn't seem like he was using the full extent of what we've seen him do before. Like there's just, you know, I'm not saying he has to do the same exact tricks as before, but like he's been able to do really cool stuff before, and he just didn't seem to do anything that spectacular in this one that I feel like he potentially like could have, or like we've been shown before, and that felt a little disappointing. It was just kind of like they were nerfing him just to nerf him and make him more vulnerable to the villain. And then also like just how we saw him, No Way Home might just be the outlier here, but like also like his personality as far as like his morals and what he's willing to do with his magic and to help Peter, and then in this one it's just like, what is he willing to do here? So to me it's been a little bit back and forth and all over the place where I can't necessarily track who he is like exactly, where I feel like other characters in MCU we've definitely seen a steady progression in both ability and strength, and then also morals and characters, especially with Cap and Tony Stark would be the best examples of that. But that was kind of like my one thing coming out of this, where I was like, I just don't know where Doctor Strange lies in his abilities and also like his character at this point. Like it just feels like it's somewhat back and forth at different points in time.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah. Well, you can't be perfect when you've been in 6 different movies in the Marvel.
Yeah, I mean, I think
back and forth.
I think too, you could argue that like that almost comes down to each different director and everything like that. Like I think in this one his powers are much more creative and much more interesting to look at, whereas like the first one he's basically just making sparks come out into like different weapons or something like that. And Endgame, he's, you know, making a big whirlpool out of everything. And with this one, he's fighting with fucking music notes. Like that's fucking sick. Like regardless of how kind of silly it is, when he throws those 2 lampposts into the big octopus eye and pops it out, and I was just like, this is awesome.
That was cool. Yeah.
That was cool. That caught my attention. And what also caught my attention when he runs in, when they first go to the other,
Yeah, they're multiverse.
Convention, I guess. Yeah, multiverse.
Other universe.
Yeah, and he runs into like the pizza parlor guy, and it's the
Bruce
guy
Campbell.
from fucking Evil Dead. Yeah, and that's when I was like trying to figure it out, but I couldn't figure it out. And then the credits rolled, and I was like, motherfucker, I knew it. Yeah, that was funny. But I saw that, and that was another moment where I was like, oh, that's so cool.
The Pizza Papa.
Mm-hmm.
How was it in 3D, Tyler?
It was good, man. I hadn't seen a 3D movie in forever. So it was definitely a fun little experience to go in and kind of enjoy that. And it's one of those movies where it's very smart that they did it that way because, again, you don't see a whole lot of movies in 3D anymore. But it's one of those that you can get away with a lot. It's a very forgiving movie in that sense because you have so much room to play with in the multiverse, and you're doing a lot of shots and something that would already be hard to make anyway. So you have to animate it. Practical effects on something like these aren't really practical, so it's going to be in CGI and animated stuff anyway, so it's just smart to put it in 3D anyways because it's going to look good. So I really like that aspect, especially when you're getting like when they're jumping out of the door and they're like turning in on the platform to get the book. And even before, like the very first scene where he's waking up from the dream and they're fighting in that kind of spacey universe, super easy to do 3D in, and it just makes sense, and it kind of adds to the whole experience of you're in that realm with them, and the different focus points are really cool because if like one of those rocks is up close to you, it's out of focus, and the further rock is in focus and you can see everything. So it's a very cool experience, and they did it very well, and I was very pleased with it. And I'll definitely go see Avatar in 3D without a doubt because that's how I originally saw the first one. But anyways, a little sidetrack. I think my only other like gripe was with America, and not her specifically or her character. In all the trailers, they almost made this look like it was going to be Kamala Khan, and a lot of people thought that because of like the video game and everything, and they were all talking about like how her fists look bigger, but like how are they going to animate that? And like turns out it's just not her, which is great. And she's young, so she feels a little lost, but obviously she kind of gains some perspective on how hard being a hero is. She gets to see different versions of Doctor Strange, and give it up for Zombie Strange. I mean, he did a great job. So yeah, I thought that was cool. There's a lot of animation with him, and it's cool because it's up close stuff, and it looks really good. And speaking of up close stuff, Marvel stuff, and this is a little bit of a push off, but a kind of a tie-in. The hippo suit from Moon Knight. Yeah. That is, the hippo from Moon Knight, that's a real suit that they're using. Yeah, it's crazy. It's like an animatronic combination suit that somebody's like actually in, and it's like a practical effect, so it looks insane. So that's really cool. I hope that they obviously pick up on more of that stuff because it looks really good, and they're going to be able to utilize that kind of stuff a lot. Because let's face it, we all know how we feel about practical effects versus CGI and animated stuff. But
sure.
But yeah, man, I had a lot of fun with it. I don't have a whole lot to pick on in this movie, and you should definitely go see it.
Yeah, the only before we animate, if we just kind of want to get to like our cons or any of the gripes that we have with the film, it's kind of the same one I have with most Marvel movies, where it's just like so much CGI. I'm like, sometimes it just looks really bad. Like I didn't really like Mr. Fantastic, and John. How do you pronounce his last name?
Krasinski.
I was on the add a L. But his suit on his face to me just did not look good. But that's what happens when you have shit ton of CGI in a movie. So I'm not saying that doesn't break your belief in the universe and things of that nature. But that's definitely just kind of a few things on that. And that actually led me to a funny meme I saw on the internet. So I actually got to send it to you guys right now. But it's about like Marvel and green screens, but it was fucking hilarious. Right now. But I think, nonetheless, that's all I had to say.
I think some of that too gets a little bit like I kind of hand wave it away a little bit more because like the CGI in this one, although it's a little bit more, I feel like it's a little bit more purposefully noticeable than on something like a No Way Home or anything. And again, I feel like that leans a little bit more into the Raimi side of things, where it's just he's not so concerned about like making you believe that everything on the screen is real. He's more concerned about you having a good time and just like making sure that the story and the movie are there and with you and deriving those emotions from the audience. So I definitely agree with you that there is points of it where I was just like, ooh, yeah, like that. I could tell that CGI, but I think it's kind of saved a little bit.
Sure.
By that in some ways, but yeah, I'm with you. I wish they'd go full practical all the time, but obviously that's not,
Yeah.
Not feasible at this point.
You're telling me a multiverse doesn't exist?
Yeah.
we can't use practical effects?
How about that? Your dreams are supposedly your other multiversal selves.
Yeah, that was cool.
I like that.
Yeah, I
I'm
thought
not
that was
gonna lie, that was pretty cool.
I thought that was a little interesting kind of thing that they brought in there as well. Thought that was pretty neat. And yeah, I mean, just like it was little stuff like that. I don't know. I think I went into this with really low expectations. Maybe I was really concerned starting with it that because Raimi was the second director hired on. Scott Derrickson, who did the first one, was originally going to do this one, then left after creative differences, and then they brought Raimi in. I was really concerned that it was just going to be Raimi put through the Marvel blender and like it was just going to not really have any of his elements in there. And when I walked out of it, I was like, that was Army of Darkness meets Doctor Strange. I was so happy. So I definitely recommend for me. Like I said, probably one of my my new faves in the Marvel canon. So
yeah. How do you feel about? Have you seen Drag Me to Hell?
I have not. That's one of the few ones I haven't seen. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's exactly what this reminded me of.
Yeah, of course.
For the most part, where like obviously that's by Sam Raimi for listeners who haven't seen that, and that's like like 2009, 10, 11, something like that, yeah. PG-13 horror movie. But it's like kind of like the same things going on, the same shots, and I'm just like, why does this feel so much like Drag Me to Hell? And then I seen the credits roll, and I was like, I'm a fucking idiot. Also, yeah, man. Overall, good movie. I like it.
If you think this movie's too scary, you're a baby. Sorry, you are.
I mean, but shit, dude. Do you think if somebody came and took their 10-year-old son to see this, I'm sure he's kind of like, oh, this is.
There were 2 10 years or younger kids in my screening, about a few hours ahead of me with their parents.
Good.
And like going into this. I looked over, like I couldn't tell they weren't reacting like that much, but if I was like, this would be a scary movie for a 10-year-old.
Yeah, but like, I think this could be an introduction horror movie.
Yeah, exactly.
I would hope it is.
But there's nothing like
a horror advocate.
There's nothing overtly like terrifying about this movie that would haunt me. It was just like if I was that young, like a few of these scares would have got me. That being said, I saw The Dark Knight at age 8. There's some scary shit there for an 8-year-old.
Oh, it's just like everyone like, this movie should have been rated R. It's an R-rated level. No, go watch The Ring. That's rated PG-13. Or Insidious. That's also PG-13.
Very quietly. Yep.
Yeah, come on. All right, we're going to head on to spoilers. We're running long on time here. Welcome back, listeners who skipped over this spoiler segment of the podcast. We're going to go ahead and put Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness up upon the Entropy list. For those of you who do not know, the Entropy list is Back Row Banter's official list of every movie we have reviewed, regardless of genre, regardless of anything else, all on one fantastic list. This is essentially how we rate our movies. Rather than do it out of 5 stars, out of 10, whatever it is, we throw up all the movies we review on a list and see how they compare to one another. If you'd like to reference the Entropy list for yourself, you can do so by checking the episode description, where it is linked to my Letterboxd. Entry 100 onto the Entropy list. I think a natural kind of, reference point, or points, if you will, is Spider-Man No Way Home, currently at number 20 on the list, and Shang-Chi Legend of the Ten Rings at number 31. I would say those are the 2 closest we're going to get, but of course we have Eternals and Black Widow somewhere on this list. I'm going to have to scroll down for those. Eternals
next
at
to each
58,
other.
Black Widow at 59.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be tough to rank.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, it's coming somewhere in between Shang-Chi and Spider-Man No Way Home. So between 20 and 31. That's kind of where I'm referencing. But of course, y'all land it where y'all all want.
Man, Spider-Man's way up there, isn't it?
Yeah. That's why I said it's gonna be hard to rank because I see how high that is, and even Shang-Chi, and I'm just kind of like, I mean, those movies are good, but like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat.
So reality of the list, man.
I think I've gone on record as saying, like, on this podcast or on this episode, that I like this more than No Way Home. I don't know if I can put this up that high in terms of everything, so I'm going to put this one at. What the hell? Let's split the difference. I'll go at 29, right above Scream, right below The Conjuring, even though that hurts my heart to do to Scream. But,
man, yeah.
Like, again, I like this better than Shang-Chi. I can't imagine it going lower than that. And, like, we've kind of backed ourselves into a corner here with No Way Home as well. So I'll put it in there. 29 below Conjuring, above Scream.
I'm actually right there with you, Nathaniel. Conjuring and those movies above it. I'm like, hey, those are some good movies. So I don't want to put it much higher than 29. I'm going to leave it right there.
Ty, do you know where you want to go, or are you thinking?
Fuck no.
Okay.
I'm just stuck because I mean we kind of put ourselves into a corner here with No Way Home.
Yeah, I don't even think it's a kinda. It's fucking
Fuck.
time. Yeah, I mean,
what are we doing?
Thinking aloud, I like the movie better than No Way Home. I'm not putting this movie in the top 20. That's just not happening.
Right.
I like the movie more than Shang-Chi, but then I also like see the movies from 20 to 30.
Right,
I'm like, I don't know if I like this movie more than any of those. Then I look like kind of right after that, the Suicide Squad, Deadpool, Kill Bill Volume 2. It's tough, dude. I like Dr. Sleep a lot. I mean, I'm 35.
I think that's respectable. It's Kill Bill 35. That's always a problem for you, isn't it?
Yep. So
Ty?
E2 Mama Tamiya just throws me for a whirler.
Yeah, baby.
But yeah, were we drinking when we were doing?
No, Nathaniel shot that
Spider-Man.
And I shot Spider-Man.
No. I knew he shot up E2 Mama. I was thinking about No Way Home. I've come to terms with E2 Mama Tamiya. Like, it's just up there. I can't do anything about it. It doesn't matter.
Spider-Man 1 was just it was a product of the environment.
And not to say that like Spider-Man is bad or anything like that, because it, for me, as far as like these two are very, 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 very close, because Strange is a better movie.
Yep. Better looking too.
I don't think it's close.
Spider-Man like just hit me in the fucking feels.
Oh, punch me in the
gut.
And if a movie can do that, it's on another level for you, at least as an individual.
For me personally,
right.
That hit hard for me. So that's why it's up there so high.
I think it had 20 years of build up.
As a film itself, it should not be that high. But the context around it, it's fine. But
fine, it's also taken them like 3 movies to get there.
Okay, where's your ranking? Let's just.
I'm actually gonna be right at 29 after
as well.
Some thought has gone down, because, like I've said in the past, horror has become something that is annoyingly good to me as of late, and it's frustrating at some points.
So you're throwing that above Scream, then, right? You're agreeing with Nathaniel?
Yeah. I do like Scream a lot, and I understand it's blasphemy in your book, but with all due respect, I think this is just something that's a little bit more in tune.
I hear you.
Well, that will bring us to an average rating of 30.5, meaning we do have a tiebreaker for Scream, and I've already looked up that tiebreaker. Lo and behold, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, as we just said before, a 7.5 on IMDb as it stands currently, and Scream stands at 7.3.
Before we confirm that, wouldn't we tie break this with Boys in the Hood? Boys in the Hood is 30 on there, though, right? Am I looking at this thing wrong?
Yeah.
Scream was not.
If
Am
we
I doing
if we
Boys in the
averaged
Hood?
it out,
Boys
it
in
would
the
be-
Hood is 30.
Boys in the Hood's 30. My bad.
So no matter what, it can't go above Scream. That's all I had to get on record.
Aha!
I'm totally okay with
There you
that too. By the way, for
Boys in the
context.
Hood coming in at a whopping 7.8. So
Oh,
there
wow.
you have it. Yeah, it will stay below Boys in the Hood, outside of the top 30. Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness coming in at 31, then below Boys in the Hood and above Shang-Chi and the Legend of Ten Rings, which is still a very good Marvel
I'm fine
film.
with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I would
I'm also
actually
very-
swap this with Spider-Man No Way Home right now. I jack this up to 20, put Spider-Man back down.
Adam's just gonna
Uh,
punch his computer.
I'm just crying internally, but I'll wait for the pod to be over. Well, we can discuss. Eventually we will try to, maybe if there are a bunch of we know there are a bunch of movies we want to kind of move around, and maybe we'll talk about adjusting them in some way.
Yeah, I mean, we can't do all of
later down
them.
the road.
Right.
Yeah,
we can't-
but I
yeah.
think if we do like our own like personal top 20, we'll be able to get a much better handle on. Everybody else can kind of think of where our lists
Yeah,
are.
we'll figure that out later. For now, we're locking Doctor Strange in at 31, and that's it for the review segment here. Next review, in preparation of the much anticipated Top Gun Maverick, we are watching the original Top Gun, which I'm very excited about since I have not seen it before. Am I the only one who hasn't seen it?
I have, but it's been such a long time. Like I'm talking like
One of those.
15,
I've never
20
seen
years.
it.
Oh, awesome. So first watch for two of us. Cool. So that'll be next week's review. That is currently streaming on Paramount Plus, everyone's favorite streaming service, whose app sucks ass, by the way. Hey, the
What a
Halo
shock.
show has been so difficult to watch just because of that freaking app.
What a
it's
shock.
terrible. Yeah,
If it makes you feel better, Peacock is worse.
I'm sure it is. It's just I don't feel like they have the formula has been created, people, and it's also. But here's what I'll say: it's not even the format of Paramount Plus's app. It like doesn't function properly.
Yeah,
It's, like,
yeah, no,
it's
that's
buggy
I
as hell.
agree. Yeah, but like I'm telling you,
Peacock
like,
is
it
even
takes-
worse.
dude. It takes like 2 minutes
Peacock's
for Peacock to even load up.
Peacock's one of the
Okay,
worst apps I've
fair.
ever seen. It's atrocious.
Okay.
And
Okay,
like I know,
believe
like
you.
2 minutes doesn't sound like a lot, but
No, it is. when you're-
stand.
no.
Do me a favor, listener. Go look at the fucking wall. Stand there for 2 minutes. Set a timer for 2 minutes, and you tell me how long you feel like you've been staring at the wall.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, so go check out Top Gun. If you don't have Paramount Plus, you can rent it somewhere, or maybe you have a hard copy or something like that. I'm gonna go ahead and skip over 5-star review, but if you'd like to hear your thoughts on Pod, go ahead, leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and then leave us a little review. Let us know what you think, and as long as it's 5 stars, we're gonna read it on the podcast, no matter what you say, as long as it's not like offensive and vulgar. Share the podcast, friend, family member, maybe yourself from a different universe. Maybe you're hopping around, going to that that paint world.
If you
That sounds-
if you have a dream, you're listening to the podcast. So your other universe self has found our podcast, so it's time for you to also find our podcast.
Do you think our podcast is bigger in other universes?
It's infinite, bro. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, at least one.
At least one. Why can't we be that one?
Who knows? Maybe
Help
we
us
are.
be that universe.
There you
and
go.
share
Maybe
the
it just
podcast.
hasn't happened yet.
Follow us on Twitter at Banter Row, on Instagram at Back Row Banter Pod, on YouTube or just Back Row Banter, and then our email for any questions, comments, concerns, grievances, anything of that sort is backrowbanterpod@gmail.com. BlakeHolder, where can the people find you at, my man?
Letterboxd, BlakeHolder. I'll be on there logging some things, keeping track. I actually think I might put down some thoughts on the OG horror binge I went through. I was kind of half contemplating that, but I wanted to put it on pod first and kind of not spoil what I saw for you guys.
For sure.
So we'll see what I do with that, as well as maybe, who knows, maybe even the multi-universe of madness, right? Considering that's a borderline child's entry horror movie. So nonetheless, Letterboxd, BlakeHolder, I'll be on there. Follow me. See what we review, see what we watch. We'll go from there. Let's go to Ty.
Twitch.tv/ultrabajo87. Most days of the week, I spend my time playing video games.
Twitching.
So it's fun. And I actually slacked a lot this week, so don't judge me. But come Sunday, we'll be back to norm. And then Instagram, Letterboxd, and Twitter are all Tyler Vidalis, VIDALES, Nathaniel.
You can find me on Letterboxd and Twitter at @nsgingrich. You can find me on Instagram at NathanielG92. Check out my other podcast, Sandpiper Tapes. Adam, bring us home.
You can find me on Twitter at H24, on Letterboxd at H, and on Twitch, where I've been live pretty often streaming. You guessed it, Halo. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/H. I've actually, you know what? People have been showing out to my stream a decent amount recently, and I appreciate it.
Yeah?
So, yeah, join the crew,
Good
I
for
had
you.
I had like a peak of like 9 viewers at one point yesterday for like a pretty decent amount of time, and was staying above like 5 the whole night. I was like, damn, this feels fun. It's
shit.
not a lot, obviously, but like, ask Tyler, like those numbers are pretty good for, someone small like me. So like,
It's
I'm
just
happy
fun.
about it. Yeah, it's just fun. Especially, you know what? If you come by, say hi in the chat. I could give less of I'm trying to swear. I don't care. I don't care how many viewers I have. If people are in the chat and I'm talking to them, like, I'm having a blast.
Yeah,
Like,
interact with me.
If it's one person, 2 people, if anyone active in the chat, it's like, it makes it so much more fun. And I
Facts.
could care less about how many people are in my stream. It is, if people are active in the chat, like, it just means a lot. And
It also makes me
way more
not
fun.
care about the game more.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it's more fun to play. I feel I'm having more fun streaming, knowing like people are actually paying attention, interacting, all that kind of stuff. Like, be active in the chat, because it also just makes it easier. Like, today I streamed for a few hours, 3 or 4 hours. I don't remember what it was exactly, and I had some viewers stop by, but like not a lot of people active in the chat. But I was like still trying to talk and like be active in that kind of thing, because you never know when people are going to be joining while you're mid game. But it's like, if I have people to bounce back and forth with, it makes everything so much easier and so much more fun. So, yeah, be active in the chat. If you stop by, say hi. Let me know if you came from the pod, from the plug. I know Waz stopped by not too long ago, so that was fun too. But yeah, really appreciate that. Stop by, say hi, do whatever you got to do. But yeah, that's gonna be it here for episode 101. The good old palindrome. Oh, we can start doing palindromes now.
Oh, boy.
This is gonna be great. It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a while before we get another one, but yeah, 10 episodes or so. We'll see. But anyway, that's gonna do it here for episode 101. Doctor Strange. Join us next week for our review of the original Top Gun, and we'll be RB.
Be excellent to each other, everyone, and we will be RB.
Thanks for stopping by. We appreciate you guys quite a bit. As we were just talking about our streams, and every little bit helps, and we thank you guys quite a bit. But other than that, just be good to one another. You never know where someone is at on their journey or through their day, so just spread that good shit, and we'll be RB.
Thanks for listening. As always, we appreciate the love. We appreciate the support. I believe May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So check in with people you love, family members, ask how they're doing, then ask how they're really doing, and just kind of get an idea of that, because everyone goes through certain things. There's nothing wrong with reaching out for help. And that's it. We'll be RP.
America. Ready for another lesson.
I'll punch that dog in the snout.
Say hello to the squadron.
What? You guys gotta. Oh yeah, you said.
Wait,
something
hang on. I just finished the Avatar trailer. I need to get to Discord to see the animal. Where is it at?
That's so cute.
Hey, what's the name?
Banty.
Is that a corgi?
She is a corgi, yeah. We're naming her Electra, but right now she's going by Ellie. Stop biting my toe. But
How's she holding up?
Waz's dog.
She is Waz's dog, yes. She's doing good so far.
It's dope. Always exciting to see some new animals.
Yeah, she's all right. It's I've never had a puppy, I realized. Like, when I had a dog, we found him, it was like he was 3 already. So, like...
Okay, yeah, a little different, for
yeah,
sure.
a puppy. But she's doing good. And again, she's Waz's dog, so I'm not having to take her out.
You're not doing the potty training and shit like that, yeah. And always makes it a little easier.
Yeah.
You guys don't have any pets, Ty, right?
fuck no.
Does Leah just not like into pets or what?
No, we both are. I am just. I'm sure we'll get around to it, but I think it's unfair to an animal with the amount of time that I have.
Yeah, no,
I'm not. I don't want the responsibility. I've just come to terms with that. The fact that I don't want to fucking do it right now.
Yep, I'm with that wholeheartedly, man.
Because I really do like pets, but
Yeah,
I mean, dude, it's a lot of work, and I got enough going on in my life right now, and I'd rather have a house, not an apartment, and fucking like pay parent rent and all that other fucking bullshit. Like, it's just dumb. So I'm just out. Not right now.
No, I'm with you, dude.
And honestly, we'll probably get a cat.
I was thinking about getting a cat in my apartment next year.
I'm so close to getting a cat, fellas. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I like dogs, and everyone's like the cat person, dog person, and like all of that bullshit. But like, dude, cats are just super chill. Like,
so much less maintenance too.
That's where you shit. That's where you eat. You can come find me if you want to hang out or some shit.
Right.
And it's like done. We're good. We're boys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't have to come home every fucking 6 hours and take the dog out. And so, you know what I mean? It's just way less restricting on the owner.
Facts. You can go to like a 3-hour concert and not have to worry about it. Maz and Nathaniel leave for like 30 minutes and the dog shits everywhere because it's got anxiety or some shit,
And your pillows are destroyed or pizza's eaten or food off the counters.
Well, see, that's like my other thing. I like my dogs when we were kids with my parents. Like you don't feed your dogs. You don't let them beg. Like it's just no go on all that shit.
No, for sure. I was the same way with my childhood dog with my parents too. Like, nah, you can't feed the dog human food.
What's funny is last week I went to this place in Columbia called the Cat Cafe. It is a very small place. They have like one room with about a dozen or so cats in it.
Just hanging out.
And like and so like you can go there. It's a cafe, so you can like get a coffee or something.
Sure.
How is that not some kind of health violation?
I was just gonna say that's got to be sanitary shit,
and
right?
The food is kept separate from the cats. You have to go into like an airlock room so the cats don't escape. Like you go into like an intermediate room where you take off your shoes, and then you go into the cat room, which just smells like a giant litter box. So it was kind of off-putting trying to enjoy my coffee while I got this litter box smell. That was off-putting. But there's just 12 cats chilling in a room, to toys and shit to play with, and you can adopt any of the cats there. So like you can go and like play with all the cats. If you meet one you really like or you think is cool, like you can just adopt it.
I mean, that's kind of cool for the adoption part of it. I mean, if I'm gonna go adopt a pet, I guess I want to chill there for like an hour, have a cup of coffee.
So I found this really cool black and gold cat that I was playing with for almost the whole time, because you have to book your you have to like schedule your appointments. So essentially, it would like 30. You can either stay 30 minutes or an hour. So we stayed for like 30 minutes. I think it was like you had to pay $4 for the appointment. I don't know. It was so fun though.
No, that's dope, and that's actually really common in like Asian cultures.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really go overseas there and see that bad. That's awesome. That's definitely some shit I'd be interested in. I just don't like coffee. I would just go there just to see 12 cats.
Which you can.
I love coffee.
When I went in there, I was the only one drinking or eating anything. Like no one else was doing it.
I know Adam's a coffee guy. Nathaniel's a tea guy. I'm definitely a coffee guy, but I also do like tea. Do you do anything for caffeine in the morning?
Not really, but I drink tea a lot though.
Yeah.
So I'll drink just so I can have like some type of warm beverage.
See, like if I'm doing tea, it's nighttime tea. It's like sleepy time, chamomile with like honey or something in it.
Yeah.
I like green tea too though, like mid-afternoon.
Green tea's
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that for sure.
Tea, coffee, and water. Those are like only 3 things I drink.
And I'll take this out of Carolia's book. Coffee is just dirty water.
Yeah, she got me too.
Yeah.
That's literally what she tells me. She's like, ew. I'm like, what? She's like, it's just dirty water. You're disgusting.
So if it's dirty, why does it taste so good?
I don't know.
Yeah.